they say in the space of a week, 3 gas stations in town were hit. Investigators say in each incident, 69-year-old Samuel Carmen of New Haven implied he had a weapon. They were able to secure arrest warrants in the cases through interviews, physical evidence, and assistance from other agencies. Carmen faces a number of charges, including larceny, threatening, and robbery. He's already behind bars for crimes committed outside of North Haven. Bond set at $550,000 in the latest cases. Tick researchers in Connecticut are worried about what any federal cuts would do to their work at a time when more invasive ticks and diseases are taking hold in the state. Yale School of Public Health and CEO of the American Lyme Disease Foundation.
We've been fighting this for nearly 50 years, and the situation is getting worse, and we need much more research funds to combat this epidemic.
Now, roughly 2,200 cases of Lyme disease detected annually in our state. It's been a week of misery down south and in the Midwest. Severe weather has left 20 dead. Some parts have seen nearly 1.5 feet of rain. Correspondent Dave Malkoff is in Pocahontas, Arkansas.
That flood water that we have seen all over the region, it is not expected to go down anytime soon. Maybe it will crest by Wednesday, but even if it does that, it will stick around for the rest of the week. So a lot of water on the ground.
The historic Buffalo Trace Distillery is closed due to the flooding. WTIC News Time is 3:04. Checking traffic. In fairly decent shape in the Hartford area. No major problems to report on Interstates 84, 91, Route 2, Route 5, and 15. 291 all appear to be traveling fairly well. Down in Fairfield County along the 95 corridor, busiest traffic right now, northbound on the Merritt Parkway, it seems. It's down in Stamford between 34 and 36. Those are only volume delays, though. Let's check in with meteorologist Jason Caterina. He has the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
For the rest of our Monday afternoon, a colder, damp, raw, and chilly day with that rain and drizzle around, the high only 42. Still cloudy tonight. There'll be a stray shower late, the low down to 36. Now on Tuesday, mostly cloudy, windy, a chilly day overall, the high only 43. Then Tuesday night, partly cloudy, quite cold, breezy too, with the low dropping down to 26. Now Wednesday, still breezy, mostly sunny, another chilly day, but the high moving up to 46. Now some sun before turning cloudy on Thursday, just a touch milder with the high up to 52. Periods of rain on Friday with the high of 54. Then heavy rain continues Friday night, the low dropping down to 45. The rain continues as we head into the day on Saturday with occasional rain and drizzle, the high of 56 for us during the day on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
40 degrees, cloudy skies, a little light rain in the Hartford area. Wall Street, the Dow down 417 points. The NASDAQ is down 16, and the S&P is down 19 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Are you a proud Connecticut business owner? We are too. With more than 48 years of experience handling business transactions for small and mid-sized businesses. And we know that not every business relationship works out as planned. If you found yourself in a dispute, call the law firm of Brown, Payne, Darris, and Scott. Our team of business lawyers have over 100 years of combined experience. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer. You get a full-service law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Nick Payne-Darris is responsible for the content of this ad.
Connecticut hospitals care for more than just patients. They care for our workforce, creating 245,000 jobs. They care for our economy as the largest employer in Connecticut. They care for our communities, connecting residents to health screenings, nutritious food, and stable housing. And they care for our future, making healthcare accessible, equitable, and affordable. Connecticut hospitals create real change by caring for Connecticut. Learn more at caringforct.org.
Men is good enough.
1 minute.
This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And if erectile dysfunction is making for a bad bedroom experience for you and your partner, you should call us because you want your intimacy to be fantastic, both for you and for the one you love. At Northeast Men's Health, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we're a medical practice focused on men's sexual health, we can offer many treatment options and even combine treatments to find the right one for you. Which means if you're like most of our patients, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in years. You can even last up to an hour or more and make sex great again. So make an appointment and make a change from good.
What?
For just $99, you'll get a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices across the Northeast to serve you. Northeast Men's Health, a Promedic restorative health practice.
Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Reese's on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh, hello and welcome to your Monday. It's Reese on the radio here on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Splendid day indeed. I'm happy to be here. I hope you're happy to be here. Monday's an odd day for a lot of people. I've got my my T-shirt reads today, but did you die? My wife makes me wear this whenever I have to run errands with her, right? Or she makes me take her out to go shopping. I was like, I don't want to go shopping. I was like, nah, come on. I was like, nope. Because all you're going to do is look at shoes and dresses and stuff, and I'll have to sit and hold your purse. So every time I go, she makes me wear the shirt. But did you die? That's her saying. And I figured I'd wear it today because we were told it was supposed to be Black Monday. You know, it was supposed to be the stock market carnage of, what was it, the 1980s or whatever? Yeah, nowhere near that. We're almost at the end of closing or close to closing. And nothing, although it went down all the way to 1,400, there were a lot of people like, oh. I just looked at the television and I said, don't worry, it'll come back up. No one is going to sell off that much. No one is. Did you notice today that when one of the news outlets reported that Donald Trump was going to ease tariffs, all of a sudden, stock market skyrocketed. As soon as they heard the word, they didn't even confirm it. Investors went, okay, bye. And then the report was fake news and went down. Now, you can't have that happen with Donald Trump at the helm. You can't give him that kind of leeway. Someone reports a fake news story that Donald Trump's going to lay off the tariffs, and all of a sudden investors change their trajectory. And then he reveals that it's fake news and it goes in the opposite direction. What did you say to yourself when you saw that? You said, holy crap, he is in control. Yes, he is. That's called having we're talking about having control on a market just by saying something. He's always been that way. Do people forget 2016, 2017, where he would go after someone and the stock would respond as soon as he ripped them apart at his bully pulpit? The amount of power. Do people forget those things? Is there so much news inundating you on your smartphone that you forget these little items? I never do. I guess that's why I'm successful, is because I never forget, and some people do, and they come back in there and go, oh, you know what? Reese will remember. That's what my wife does all the time. She goes, you know who she'll be out with her friends, and she will call me while she's with her friends and be like, what was that thing that you were talking about? And then I'll remember it, and then she'll go, see, Reese always remembers. I applaud them. I applaud you for coming to me to remember for you. Well, we're going to talk about that tariff thing today. We're going to talk all about it. I do want to say this before we do get into this conversation about tariffs. For those of you who are a little bit confused, I want to help you understand why these nations are going to come to the table, and Donald Trump knows that. While you're listening to the people in the news media, they are ignoring something very vital to this whole conversation, and that is the global market. Now remember, the foreign nations are putting higher tariffs on our goods to be sold in their countries, while our tariffs are lower for those companies. So imagine you are a small business owner in Munich, and the tariff to have your goods as a small business owner come into the United States are only as little as 10%. In some cases, maybe even lower. It doesn't cost you that much to export your stuff to the largest consumers in the world, Americans. But imagine a guy like Donald Trump comes in and tells Munich, I'm raising your tariffs to the same level that you tariff our goods into Munich, 37%. That small business owner in Munich now knows it costs more money to get his product into the hands of the largest consumers in the country. He will falter. He can't send that much stuff to the United States because it costs him too much. He has to he's got to keep his employees. He's got to protect his bottom line. What happens if the tariffs are higher? His most valuable consumer is no longer getting the goods at the level that they used to. So he is affected by how? Laying people off? Sending fewer goods? What he'll probably do is scream at his government and say, hey, you people in Parliament, get on the phone with this guy so that I can continue to send my widgets to San Francisco. I'm bleeding over here. I can't afford if he throws those tariffs up. So they put pressure on their government. Now, they can sit up there, just as Canada did. They stood up there and just went, yeah, we're not standing for this. We'll cut the electricity off. Sure, cut the electricity off. Cutting the electricity off, nobody's going to pay for that electricity. With a $200 billion budget deficit, why would you cut off the amount of supply that you're getting for that, or at least the finances you're getting from that supply? You can make the threat all day, but the people in Canada who work for those electricity companies, those utilities, what would happen to them? What would happen to the people who work in your country? I almost said state. But what would happen to them? So again, this is how you put, not a country, you put the companies in a sleeper hold. You don't blame them, but you simply say to them, hey, you want to get on the phone with your prime minister? You want to get on the phone with your president? Because it doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect Parliament. It doesn't affect any of the elected officials. It affects their businesses. All of those tax dollars that those companies are spending inside their state, all of that stuff's going to affect them. It's a winning hand. So while everybody's telling you, well, it's going to cost more in the United States, for what? For German goods? For Canadian goods? For Chinese goods? If something costs more money, nobody's forced to buy anything. Nobody goes into the home and says, you know what? Go down there and go pick up that Chinese-made item. Yes, it's going to cost more, but make sure you bring it into your home. No. People do what they always do. They shop around. It forces other businesses that actually sell those products who have been beaten out by the cheaper-made product, the American-made company that's got to pay more to produce and sell those items is probably being beaten out by a cheaper country. Now they're in the game. When those companies have to raise their prices, the outside guys have to raise their prices, the American-made business says, no, we're going to stay right here. Now people will start buying our stuff. Now they'll rely on us. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. But you couldn't possibly get an honest broker in all of this from the news media. And it's sad because we have a lot of people in this country who would sooner listen to them than use their own, let's just say, education as a means to understand how tariff works. They know that they probably did an econ class on tariffs. I know they've seen Ferris Bueller in a famous econ speech by Ben Stein. It's not like people don't know this stuff, but they rely on the, in their view, much smarter news media. So since they do, I'm going to do something for them. And the beauty of it is I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to play you a clip from CNBC. I'm going to play you a clip from the liberal-owned NBC from an economist who is a black man. So we cover liberal, DEI at the same time. Because according to the left, those are the people that we should trust. Liberals and blacks. So I give you what can only be described in my book as the bifecta. And that is because the third thing that you're going to realize is that half of these bozos know nothing of what they speak. Here is John Fort of CNBC talking about tariffs.
By and large, tariffs are good for us, and let me break it down. If politics were a video game and the president were a character you could play, tariffs would be your most powerful economic move. But what's a tariff? Basically a tax any business has to pay to bring goods into a country. The USA is uniquely a reasonably big country with a huge consumer class by global standards. So most every sizable company in the world needs to sell here. The argument against tariffs is that they just tax the U.S. consumer. If you say I have to pay $100 to bring my $100 widget over from China, I'll just charge $200 for it. But it doesn't always work that way. What tariffs can also do is encourage companies to avoid the extra charge by making things here in the U.S., or they can level the playing field for U.S. manufacturers who are getting crushed by cheap imports. So you can't just swallow these headlines that claim tariffs are just a tax on U.S. consumers. If tariffs always dramatically raise prices for consumers, why didn't that happen in 2018 and 2019? The truth is that the U.S. has been so focused on making it easy to import goods from other countries that we've made it reflexive for other countries to tariff U.S. products while we let overseas goods flood in, and tariffs can't stop that, Joe.
Well,
And that's all you need to know. It is simple. Even a caveman could do it. It's really, really simple. The only thing you're arguing is that people from out of the country should be able to sell their items here. You're a globalist. You have no real interest in the American markets. You have no interest in American goods and services. You wish to help the world. Which brings me to what Donald Trump said at the joint sessions just a couple of months ago.
I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what.
They won't do it, no matter what. And that's the key part about what Donald Trump said. Donald Trump said they won't cheer, they won't applaud, no matter what. Even if 10 years ago, the guy who is drawing more crowds on the Democrat side agreed with Donald Trump. Listen, again, the guy who's drawing more crowds on the Democrat side in 2015 said this, which shows you exactly everything that everyone's talking about is nothing more than just thwarting the president. It has nothing to do with ideological divide. It's just pure hatred, and it's nonsensical. Bernie Sanders, 2015, sounding exactly like Donald Trump today.
At the end of the day, I think what Americans perceive, and you ask me why there is momentum for our campaign, these trade agreements were written by corporate America, were written by Wall Street. The goal was to shut down plants in America, to stop having to pay workers in Iowa, Vermont, this country, decent wages, move to China, pay people low wages, and bring their products back in America.
But supported by Democratic administrations.
You're quite right. Many of these policies, you're absolutely right. Many of these policies were supported by not only Republicans, by President Clinton, and unfortunately, President Obama. They are bad policies. They are opposed by and large by every trade union in this country, and I believe by the majority of the American people. At the end of the day, the American worker should not be forced to compete against people in Vietnam who make 56 cents an hour minimum wage.
How do you roll back the clock on those agreements?
Well, you renegotiate agreements. And what you say is, look, we want agreements that work for the American middle class. I want to see, we have lost, just to review, since 2001, we have lost almost 60,000 factories in the United States of America and millions of decent paying jobs. Not all of that is attributable to trade, but a lot of it is. And at the end of the day, if corporations can shut down in America, pay people 25 cents an hour, 50 cents an hour someplace else, that's what they will do. And we have got to stop that. We have to demand they reinvest back in this country and provide decent paying jobs here.
So Chris Murphy, Governor Lamont, Dick Blumenthal, A.G. Tong, anybody on the left. If I remember correctly, it was Chris Murphy who said that we need to embrace Bernie Sanders and his policies of 2015. Doesn't look like Democrats are embracing them. Sounds like Donald Trump is. There are no honest brokers here, folks. They're all lying. If they truly do believe that tariffs are bad, then they're going to have to tell Bernie Sanders that what he believes is a lie. But you know what? I'll help them. Because this is the reason why. Truth be told. Truth be told. The reason why is because Bernie Sanders is a hypocrite too. That's the reason why they can't stand with him. You don't believe me? Watch this. Try this on for size. Bernie Sanders.
There are 500,000 people in the United States who are homeless. And you got billionaires who have more money than they can spend in 1,000 lifetimes. How many homes do you need? Do I own 3 residences? Yeah, I do. Guess what? I'm a United States Senator. I have a summer camp. It's a nice one on Lake Champlain.
It's too easy for these people to flip-flop. They stand on nothing. They stand on nothing. So when these people are running around here screaming and hollering, oh, Donald Trump is a terrorist, shut up. Shut up. You've earned no space in this conversation. Shut up. Bernie Sanders was your divine leader. You know you wanted him in 2015 and 2016. They forced Hillary Clinton on you. Now you're trying to go back there. Donald Trump just beat you to it. Get used to it. We'll take your phone calls in a bit, 860-522-WTIC. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Hey, how'd you get your water heater fixed so fast?
Aiello Home Services, same-day plumbing. I gave them a call, and they had a plumber on their way. They even sent the plumber's real-time location, so I knew when they would be here.
Did you say same day? That's crazy.
If you need same-day plumbing, call, click, or text today and say, hello, Aiello. Call for details. Licensed for safety. D1027768, D10401465, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
So, you want to buy a house. You could go online, do your research, find the dream listing, go see it, and get catfished. Back to the drawing board. More scheduling, more viewings, more. This doesn't even look like the photos. You could finally find one that does match the photos. Then comes the offer. Stress rush? Yep, make that 3. And here's the paperwork. Yep, never-ending paperwork. It's a lot. But you don't have to do it alone. Because there's an agent who's a realtor here to guide and help protect you as you find the home that's right for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Good morning, Doctor. Doctor? Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
And now, a WTIC news update.
40 degrees at 3:30. I'm John Silva. The Yukon women's basketball team and its fans are floating on air today after the Huskies' 82-59 win over South Carolina in Sunday's national championship game in Tampa. The team just touched down at Bradley a short time ago and is boarding buses back to campus. A rally at Gamble Pavilion is set for 5 o'clock. It is the program's 12th title, all with Gino Auriemma at the helm. East Hartford police investigating a shooting seen at 50 Bidwell Avenue. They've been there most of the day. Man was found shot. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. 3 people have died from measles-related illnesses in the U.S. since the virus started ripping through West Texas in late January. The U.S. has more than doubled the number of cases of measles that were logged in 2024. Trial of a man accused in the killing of a woman in Ansonia in 2019 is now underway in Milford. Jose Morales is charged in the murder of Christine Holloway in December of 2019. Their daughter, Vanessa, who was 11 months old at the time, has been missing since. President Trump and his Israeli counterpart, Benjamin Netanyahu, meeting at the White House today. And the first leader to visit, the first foreign leader to visit the White House since Trump unleashed a barrage of tariffs on dozens of nations last week. Rivers rose, flooding worsened across the U.S. South and Midwest, threatening communities already waterlogged and badly damaged by days of heavy rain. At least 20 deaths have been reported. WTIC News Time, 3:31. Here's the forecast.
Damp, raw, and chilly this afternoon with rain and drizzle around, the high of 42. Then cloudy tonight. We'll have a stray shower late. Chilly, the low down to 36. Mostly cloudy, windy, and chilly for us on Tuesday as well. The high only 43. Then Tuesday night, breezy, otherwise partly cloudy and quite cold with the low dropping down to 26. Still breezy, mostly sunny and chilly Wednesday with a high 46. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And for these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
It's the Peter L. Brown Company's 65th anniversary. Visit peterlbrown.com for a window special.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, retirement, maybe even kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you really need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. We're committed to helping protect your personal interests and the life you've built. Don't let divorce take more than it has to. Talk to us today.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Hartford area attorneys. Phyllis McCutcheon, licensed in Connecticut. Online at CordellCordell.com.
College holds a mythic place in American culture, but there are stories you won't hear on the campus tours.
The higher-ups are concerned about one thing, and that is avoiding scandal.
I'm Margot Gray. On the new podcast, Campus Files, we cover everything from rigged admissions to the drama of Greek life and student protests. Listen to and follow Campus Files, an Odyssey original podcast. Available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Slow? Clogged? Backed up? Don't worry. ALO Home Services has you covered. For only $93, our technician will clear any drain in your home. And if it can't be cleared, it's free. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P1027768, D10401465, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. My friend Phil just finished month 2 of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. All right, Phil, it is the end of week 8 now, according to my calendar. And how are we looking?
We're looking good, Tom. This past week, I dropped another 4.8. Since the start date of February 5, I'm down 46 pounds.
Dang, that is amazing. So it's about right around 6 pounds per week.
The weight loss speaks for itself. It's keeping me motivated. I have no desire to cheat.
You're definitely a much thinner guy now. You look like a new Phil. And Phil, don't take this the wrong way, but you look younger too.
Well, that's a compliment, Tom. I thank you. In fact, I go to the local Y to do, some moderate workouts, nothing too crazy. And a guy came up to me and he said, "Man, you look great."
Phil does look great, and he's losing weight by eating right through Awaken 180 Weight Loss, and not by taking some experimental drug with a clinical name you can't pronounce. Make your consultation today at 844-346-1800 or at awaken180weightloss.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions.
1 minute.
Details and important safety information. Subscription required.
No problem.
Subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
We're back, folks, and, you know, as I said in the opening monologue, you have all of these people. Let me fix my chair. We have all of these people who are running around talking about tariffs from one angle and one angle alone, opposition to Donald Trump. That's their point of view. How can I make this show, my news broadcast, the opposition to Donald Trump's worldview, economic view, policy view? How can I tell my audience that what he thinks is wrong? And in doing so, embarrass themselves. Let me give you an example. Did you hear the story about the penguins? I know you did. I know you did. And you, my very, very faithful leftist fans, I know you know the story. And you were probably tweeting about it and sending messages to your conservative enemies. He put tariffs on an island for the penguins. And you were having such a good laugh because you, who had never heard of those islands, nor have I wouldn't know anything about those islands. Heard in McDonald Islands. But you had never heard of those islands. But you saw it on the news. And you saw people on the news having quite the chuckle. Ha, ha, ha. Donald Trump, what a dummy. He put tariffs on penguins. Even Margaret Brennan of CBS News faced the nation. She was having a grand old time having a conversation with Howard Lutnick on the Sunday shows. Hey, how did you figure out where to put the tariffs? Did you use AI? Ha, ha, ha. You unserious person who's supposed to be a billionaire. Ha, me. I'm so smart. You're so dumb. It went like this.
When we saw the president stand in the Rose Garden holding up that chart that you helped make, that wasn't actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors because it was some kind of other formula, and the countries themselves seemed kind of random. Like, why are the Heard and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are quite literally inhabited by penguins, why do they face a 10% tariffs? Did you use AI to generate this?
No, the idea is
why
that
are they on the list?
Left off.
Yeah, she's laughing. Why are they on the list? You unserious person. You're supposed to know that you provided the list. Yes, Harold Lutnick did provide the list. But he knew something, and Donald Trump knew something that the Democrats and the news media never bothered to look up. They had no interest in doing their research. They thought they had him. They thought they had him by the short and curlies, as they say, and they thought they were going to embarrass them on the Sunday shows. And all it took was a 2-minute search. And just to be in line with Margaret Brennan of Face the Nation, I did an AI search. I used ChatGPT. And I asked a simple question. Why would you put tariffs on an island of penguins? And I got this. Misidentified shipping data interestingly, some recent reports indicate that trade data from the United States had incorrectly listed imports from the Heard and McDonald Islands For example, in 2022, not Trump's administration, in 2022, the U.S. claimed imports of $1.4 million worth of machinery and electrical goods. Investigators suggest that these are likely mislabeled shipments originating from other countries with errors in country of origin or location codes in shipping documents. In essence, what ChatGPT did was try to cover for the Biden administration. And what they recognized in this piece, and it's exactly what happened, to avoid tariffs, many countries claimed that the goods were being shipped from the Heard and McDonald Islands to avoid tariffs. That's all it was. It was a good old bait and switch. If it's coming from those islands, the tariffs are cheaper because tariffs on their own goods in their own countries, they knew what they would have to pay. So they were duping the American people. That's all it was. And so what did the Trump administration do? Because they clearly saw that the Heard and the McDonald Islands were being used as a way to circumvent the tariffs in their country, they made sure that the 10% went to that island. So all they had to do was change the shipping label. If somebody put a bill of lading that said it came from the Heard of McDonald Islands, they would be charged as well. That's why it's there. That's why Harold Lutnick laughed. And all she had to do was just her due diligence, like I did, to figure it out.
When we saw the president stand in the Rose Garden holding up that chart that you helped make, that wasn't actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors because it was some kind of other formula, and the countries themselves seemed kind of random. Like, why are the Heard and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are quite literally inhabited by penguins, why do they face a 10% tariffs? Did you use AI to generate this?
No.
That's why he's laughing at her. That's why he's laughing at her. Because they don't know what they're talking about. This is not their space. Yeah, exactly. She just tripped over the prior administration's lies. Very good, Lori. That's exactly what she did. And they ran to this. I got text messages. Well, at least my administration didn't tariff a bunch of penguins. And then when I sent them this note, they didn't even know how to respond. They didn't. They didn't even know how to respond. They completely went radio silent. I have a great time doing this, by the way. But this just shows exactly who these people are. There's nothing honest about them. You can't trust them. This derangement is not Trump derangement syndrome. It's just derangement. It has nothing to do with anything. Nothing they say is truthful. The objective is to be contrarian. And if they look like hypocrites do it, they don't care because the left doesn't care about looking like hypocrites. Remember, think about this. Don't you have to be deranged to try to destroy the preeminent electric car company in the country while holding climate change summits across the globe? We're talking about the guy who makes the most popular, arguably, bar none, the most popular electric vehicle known to man in the country. Last year sold 370,000 models of one car. Another 450,000 of another model. He is the deal on election. And these same leftists who concerned about the environment wish to destroy that company. And people are looking around going, that doesn't make any sense to me, because they don't make any sense. It is true and utter derangement. It's not Trump derangement syndrome or Elon derangement syndrome. It's derangement. They just are. When we come back in the next break, I'm going to play for you some audio of these people. Just don't know what they're talking about. They're just completely, the signs that they're, one's, I can't even tell you what the sign reads, but I got to play it for you later on. We'll play it in the next break. A person held up a sign that absolutely made no sense, but they held it up anyway. I mean, it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any, let me put it this way. It made sense. But why it ended up at this protest, I'll never understand. Just, it made no sense for him to even show up with it. And talking to these people about what they're protesting, they don't know. One woman went so far as to say, a young lady was at one of these protests, and she was disappointed that there were no young people at the protest. She said everyone there were older than her and brought their grandchildren. She said, all of these boomers are in this protest. I don't see any young people here. That's a problem. That is a problem. And I figured out why that's happening. We'll talk about that as well. Tim in the chat room says that millions of tax subsidies on Tesla. Yeah, God, at the risk of, I have to do it. Okay, so who put all the subsidies on Tesla? Who did? Was it the Biden administration? Was the Obama administration? Did they allow the subsidies so they could get people in electric cars? Elon can't put subsidies. He has no control over the tax of people or giving it. There's none whatsoever. And he paid the government back their loan. Paid the government back their loan with interest and penalties. Slow down. Slow down. Do you not remember the Chevy Volt? Well, hey, were there any subsidies there? The Chevy Volt? Were there any subsidies? How about solar panels on your home? Any subsidies? Huh? How about farms that put up the little wind turbines? Any subsidies for those? Name one green energy project that didn't have government subsidies attached. Just name one. Name any. It's a made-up argument. It's really, really silly. It's really silly. The worst part is that the only people who bought that ridiculous car, and look, I'm sorry, I'm not a Tesla fan. They look interesting, don't get me wrong, they're all cute. The only people who bought that car, overwhelmingly, are the libs. Again, like I said, the derangement makes no sense because they're just deranged. We'll play some more. Stick around. We'll play you one of the pieces of audio we got at this rally, talking to some so-called young people who think that they've got a grasp on what all this is about. And this video alone should tell everybody to go home. But we'll talk about those old folks who are here in Connecticut talking a big game, especially William Tong, tough guy, William Tong, when we return. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Hi, I'm Joe with SimpleSaleUSA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
If the amazing regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics provided relief for former pro football player Bobby Carpenter, imagine the potential for your aching joints.
So my knee had been bothering me for a while. I played football for a number of years. I looked at talking to some doctors when I need to potentially have surgery, and I decided hey, let's check out QC Kinetics. I go in there and they look at the knee. Hey, here's the program that we can put you through.
That treatment takes your body's own healing properties and concentrates them at the root of the pain. No surgery or downtime.
The best part was there's no recovery until one day I felt like, hey, this feels like my old self again. I feel better. It's helped me. It's helped my dad. Hopefully it will help you in the same way. My message to them is do not wait. So you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Take it from Bobby Carpenter. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 860-440-PAIN. That's 860-440-PAIN. 860-440-PAIN.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calm.
1 minute.
Do that. Tax
Yes,
Relief
sir.
Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
Or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Here we go.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's Reese on the radio.
Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. Right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Let me give a shout out to Lori L. For sending me the NBC News article. Tesla repaying Obama administration loan 5 years early. Written by Steve Bannon, who wrote this article. It says, ordinarily, a story like this wouldn't come up with any kind of political significance, but Tesla's progress in repaying U.S. loans reminded me of something. Tesla Motors, Inc., which received $465 million in U.S. Energy Department loans to develop and build electric cars, will repay the funds 5 years ahead of schedule in a plan approved by the government. Here's Scott Pele of 60 Minutes talking to Elon Musk about that.
Taxpayers essentially loaned you, Tesla, almost $500 million. How much of that do you still owe?
We paid the whole loan back with interest and a prepayment penalty last year.
Did you have to do that? It wasn't due, was it?
No, it was not due for, I think, another 10 years or something.
Why did you pay it off early?
The taxpayers supported Tesla. We ought to repay them as soon as we can. Since we had the ability to do it and the stock markets were good, we thought, let's pay it back with interest and a thank you note, by the way, which I said, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, the arguments are falling short. Nice try, though. The arguments are just falling short. They just are. It's the most successful electric vehicle, and Democrats decided on a whim. Let's destroy it. At the same time, scream and holler about climate change. Oh, and to boot, to destroy the company, instead of just not buying it, the way the conservatives just stop buying Bud Light, let's set them on fire. That's right, let's set the lithium battery on fire. That'll learn them. Oh, and anybody listen, let me explain this to you. Just explain to the left out there. Trying to combat me with other arguments instead of stopping and saying, no, that's dumb, only means you advocate for that stupidity. Now, if your initial knee-jerk reaction is to say, yeah, but, if you join the yeah, buts, what you're saying is you are in agreement with this stupidity. Yeah, but. They do it well too often. Just say, that's a bad idea. I don't stand for that. Separate yourself from that stupidity. But you can't. And trust me when I tell you, we know why you can't. Because you agree with it. Where's the other? I thought I had this piece with the Democrats. Did I not put this up here? Oh, here it is. Hands-off protest. Here's one of them.
What are we protesting today?
Donald Trump.
Well, what's Donald Trump doing that we're protesting?
Well, he is fucking up the American democracy right now and trying to kind of repeal a bunch in the Constitution, like, rights and liberties. So,
is there anything in specific that he's...
I don't have all the information.
That's you guys in a nutshell. That's you in a nutshell. Now, if you're going, yeah, but, that's right, you agree with him. This is the other thing before we go to a break. Hold on for me real quick. This is what the guy says who's holding up a sign. This is the sign that they had at the protest.
All people are children of the earth.
Yeah, all people are children of the earth. Can you disagree with that?
He had a sign at a protest that said all people are children of the earth. So are Jason Catarinas in the Weather Center and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Mark, you are a child of the earth.
Well, thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate that. It's great to be accepted. Hopefully people won't protest against me. If you're heading into downtown Hartford right now, you're looking at delays southbound 91 from exit 33 down to exit 32 A and B. Again, a little slow down by exit 28. And you'll see delays again approaching 19 in Meriden on the southbound side of 991. Northbound 91 slowing in New Haven from the I-95 interchange up to exit 8. We had an earlier accident between 8 and 9 in the left lane. That's been cleared after that easy ride, Hartford up into Windsor. If you're on the westbound side of 84, got some slow traffic now approaching the Bulkley Bridge to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound delays a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 291 through 84, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury into Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. 84 westbound Waterbury slowing approaching the Mixmaster. 84 westbound again tight from the Rochambeau Bridge in Newtown up to exit 10. And 91 south and the Parkway south into New Haven, both in very good shape. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Damp, raw, and chilly this afternoon with rain and drizzle around, the high of 42. Then cloudy tonight. We'll have a stray shower late. Chilly, the low down to 36. Mostly cloudy, windy, and chilly for us on Tuesday as well. The high only 43. Then Tuesday night, breezy, otherwise partly cloudy and quite cold with the low dropping down to 26. Still breezy, mostly sunny and chilly Wednesday with the high 46. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Cloudy skies, 41 degrees in Hartford. Students and fans celebrate the national championship with the UConn women's basketball team at Gamble Pavilion at 5. Some came early to buy championship swag at the nearby UConn bookstore. WTIC's Dave Magers there.
If you're a junior at UConn, like Emma Hall of Ellington, you've seen the championship team every year on campus.
Very excited for it. Really happy to welcome them back. They worked really hard for it, and it's just awesome to be part of UConn at this time.
Another junior, Sam from East Hartford, says basketball at UConn just means a lot.
I just like the community and how we have such like a strong student culture here at UConn, and how it very much revolves around basketball, and that we're like the basketball capital of the world.
And so much to celebrate with the women's 12th win in 13 trips to the championship game. In stores, Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News.
At the White House today, President Trump said some of the tariffs imposed over the last few days could wind up being permanent. He's meeting at the White House with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Trump says his stand on tariffs has been long known.
I used to watch these deals for years. I've been talking about it for years. I've been talking about it for 35 years, how our country is being ripped off. I mean, 30 years ago it was Japan. Then it was something else. Then it was another group. Then it was China. China's doing the best job of it, frankly.
CBS's Jolene Kent has been speaking with some small business owners.
What we're hearing is because there's so much uncertainty, it's been difficult to figure out what to do, how to absorb the costs of these tariffs. And so that uncertainty continues to play out and create that volatility that you're seeing.
Iran's nuclear ambitions, another topic of the president's meeting with Netanyahu. Also, the ceasefire that's fallen apart with Hamas.
Israel wants the release of 11 living Israeli hostages in exchange for about a 40 or 50-day ceasefire. Hamas offering 5 living hostages so far. There's word of a bridging proposal by Egypt that would see the release of 8 living Israeli hostages and 8 bodies in exchange for extending the ceasefire.
CBS News contributor Robert Berger in Jerusalem. One person's hospitalized following a shooting this morning in East Hartford. Police on scene say the scene is at Bidwell Avenue. A man was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. They haven't determined yet a motive for that shooting, and there's no word on any suspects. Ticks and the diseases they carry are spreading in greater numbers across the state. 2,200 ticks detected annually. That's up from around 600 cases reported in 2020. Senator Richard Blumenthal now calling for continued funding for increased testing. Dr. Gudars Mollet with the State Agricultural Experiment Station in New Haven says recent funding has helped them develop their research.
We have expanded the program to serve a higher number of state residents. I'm pleased to inform you that last year we have served over 4,200 Connecticut state residents.
And it comes as the federal government is ramping up spending and staffing cuts, planning an additional 10,000 jobs cut at the Department of Health and Human Services. Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. Dow down 349 points today. The NASDAQ was up 15, and the S&P was down 11 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take 1 minute. We help Marty.
I was a really grumpy guy, sleeping like garbage and getting older. The energy level was just in the toilet. And that was what led to me going in. I've been treated at Northeast Men's Health for low testosterone, coming on about 2 years now. Within a few weeks, I started noticing I was sleeping a little bit better. I definitely noticed a higher energy level, but the old man crankiness just went away. I'm able to stay really well organized. Nothing slips through the cracks. Having the T treatment is leading me to keep on top of my game. What I would say to any other guy that is in the same situation where they feel like they're dragging, just call Northeast Men's Health. You won't regret it.
Thanks, Marty. It's true. Low T therapy can dramatically change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. And if you're on the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call today, 800-930-5956, or go to northeastmenshealth.com.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I'm actually paying close attention to these Oval Office conversations that Donald Trump's having with Benjamin Netanyahu. He just gave a very, very interesting speech, for lack of a better word, but some commentary on some of the hostages that have been released by Hamas. And he was talking about how, I guess, the people who had been to the Oval Office, like last week, it was about 10 people who were released, and were telling the story of the people who were left. And I think there's just over 50, but they said about only 24 of them are alive. And he was telling the story about how many of the parents of the dead just want their loved ones home, regardless if they're alive or not. And, he was talking about that. He found that very interesting in the way in which these folks had talked about their loved ones, just talking about bringing them home. To them, it didn't matter whether or not they were alive or dead. They just wanted their bodies home to be with their families, which, he mentioned it was a religious thing. It is. It is a faith related thing. It's very important to have their bodies home. He seemed to be, for lack of a better word, he didn't seem to be very familiar with that point of view. But having known it and lived it, I know it very well. We'll get to the phones in a second. I've got plenty of stuff to get into. Stupidest thing I read today, which will bring us right back into the conversation about transgender men in women's sports. The UK is doing something I can only describe as ridiculous, and it brings something that I've been talking about for the longest that I knew was going to happen, and it is about to happen in a championship round. We'll talk about that. If you haven't heard about it, stay tuned for that. That's coming up in about a half an hour. Also, I'm going to give a big shout out to Jerry over at Between Rounds and my good friend Karen at the Friendly Hands Food Bank. Of course, you may know that if you purchase a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a Reese's peanut butter and jelly sandwich at any of the Between Rounds locations, you will be donating $1 to Friendly Hands Food Bank and their continuing effort to feed the hungry in and around Connecticut. And I think they're trying to feed everybody. Karen is so connected in the state of Connecticut with all of these people that she's trying to help and get into to help and not just feed the hungry, but just give them services and things that they need, deservingly so. And Karen is a pillar. So I'm glad that Between Rounds and Friendly Hands Food Bank are together. I know they had lunch today talking about this. I'm very, very happy that that's going on and that relationship has been fostered by yours truly. It's nice to be a part of it. Let's get another check of our weather and traffic. Jason Catarinas is in our weather center, and Mark Christopher is in the BPS traffic center. Is the rain affecting the drive tonight, Mark?
Yeah, it's definitely slowing you down a little bit, but overall, we're doing fairly well out here. South 91 coming into Hartford, you're going to start seeing some delays.
It's Jason Catarina. There's no S on that.
Systems.
What did I say? Catarinas?
You keep saying Catarinas.
You know what?
Southbound slowing 36 to 35, again 33 down to 32.
I'll correct
and
it.
Again down by exit 28. You'll see a little slow traffic, 19 to 18 as you move down into Meriden. Northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84.
I think you know what? I'm blending it. I'm saying Jason Catarinas has your weather, so that's why I'm doing it.
Capitol Avenue, 291, 384.
I don't want nobody tracking me down.
To Middletown, quiet in Middletown. If you're traveling Waterbury 84 westbound, a little tight on the Mixmaster. Westbound 84 slowing in Southbury, 14 up to exit 10 in Newtown. 91 of the Parkway, okay, heading down in toward New Haven. At Tab Computer Systems, our employee owners are dedicated to your business success. We offer affordable enterprise-grade solutions in cybersecurity, VoIP, compliance, IT consulting, implementation, and support. Technologies advancing business. Tab Computer Systems. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Still some showers and drizzle out there on the radar as we head through the late afternoon and into the evening. It's definitely raw and chilly out there. Tonight, cloudy, a stray shower still as we head through the evening and overnight. The low down to 36. Mostly cloudy, a windy and chilly day for Tuesday. The high only 43. It's going to feel quite a bit cooler than that with the wind around. Then Wednesday, breezy, otherwise mostly sunny. Another chilly day with the high 46. Some sun, then turning cloudy Thursday. It will be a touch milder with the high actually up to 52. And Friday, make sure you take your umbrella. Another raw day with periods of rain throughout the day, the high of 54. Right now, New London at 41. Bridgeport at 43. It's 42 in Danbury. And 40 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Dreaming of a perfect smile? At Columbia Dental, our orthodontic experts specialize in braces and clear aligners like Invisalign. Get the smile you've always dreamed of. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Hey, we've been getting kicked out at 5:30.
Candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing.
What'd you say?
We getting kicked out at 5:30 today?
No.
That makes it easy to
We're not?
screen.
No, the game started at like 6:05 or 6:10.
Oh, okay, because it's at 5:45 right here.
Oh yeah, that's pregame.
Oh, okay.
We join in the pregame after the news.
Refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax.
What up, Craig?
Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless,
1 minute.
You may
Yes,
be
sir.
overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting
Big
today's
Salvatore.
toothpaste on
What's
top
up,
of
baby?
yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free,
Hinton.
and
Yes,
I
sir.
work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
President of the Chris Murphy Fan Club, Reese on the Radio, on News Talk 1080, WTIC.
Yeah, I've got some stuff to talk to you about when it comes to Chris Murphy and Barack Obama. Weirdly enough, both of these guys are saying the same thing. And it's weird because I kind of feel like I predicted it. A couple of weeks back, you might remember I had a conversation with Simsbury Joe, and I told him, he called up talking about what the left was going to do now that they've pretty much been rejected. And I was saying that, wow, you should have listened to my Sunday show, because I was talking about DEI and, you know, the transgenderism sort of being rejected. What was left to do? And I was talking about radicalism in a very violent way. What was going to happen? It's no doubt that that's what's going to happen. What I didn't think was that any prominent Democrat would ever say it out loud. And I have an old Chris Murphy clip. It's not that old. And I've got a new Barack Obama clip. And they seem to be using the same language. We'll talk about that in a little bit, so stay tuned for that. Now it's time to get into the phones. 860-522-WTIC. We'll see where this goes. Tim's in Hamden. How you doing?
Well, I just wanted to congratulate the millions, and I mean millions of people across this country that have participated in the hands-off rallies in almost all 50 states, including Florida, Texas. You live down in Texas. Did you see the reports down there about the crowds down there?
I refuse to actually engage in phony AstroTurf protests.
Okay, that's, I know you're a big conspiracy thing. The
No,
election was
actually,
stolen.
no, I don't
Let
do
me say
conspiracy. I don't do conspiracy. I do
No,
fact
no.
here.
No, I will respectfully disagree, but I'd like to congratulate them. There was no violence. There were not arrests all across this country. Certainly, the many protests, I was able to, check in New Haven, Bethel, all sorts of places up at the State House. Probably 10,000 here in
We
Connecticut
announced them
alone.
here, Tim. We announced all of them. They were listed
I-
in the
they
Hartford
were
Current.
Okay, congratulate yourself back. I'm trying to say, this is what happened. People are mad. They're not people that accept stuff. Everybody had different reasons. So some people just were angry and showing up, just like you can go on Comedy Central and see MAGA rallies, and the comedians, put on people, and they don't know what they're saying half the time.
What
But
does this mean,
was
though,
for
Tim?
the most part.
Tim, what
Pardon
does this mean? The reason why I'm asking, let me set up the question so I don't do a gotcha. So there's a professor that I actually contacted, right, from New Haven. I actually wanted to get him on the air because he said something interesting in a Hartford Current article a couple of days before the rallies. And he said, all you need is 3.5% of the population to have an uprising to affect government change. In essence, if you give the appearance, and those are his words, not mine, the appearance that there is a uprising of 3.5% of the population, that the government in charge will change course. So I'm asking you let me finish, please. I'm asking you, what was the purpose, even though there was a bunch of mixed bags of different people, what was the sole purpose of these protests that you're celebrating now?
Some of them were very personal, services that were cut and will be.
What were
cut.
they
I
united
completely
on, though, Tim? What were they united in? What was the unifying? What was the end goal?
I'm trying to speak here. So basically, we have one man, one administration, not the Republican Party and Donald Trump, and Congress imposing tariffs and things, causing worldwide distribution. This is the anti, Ronald Reagan kind of, saying, so many people, have left the Republican Party. There, a lot of people love Trump and they love the bombastic and all that sort of stuff. People were saying, can't we have a more respectful thing? Can we make sure that, our services are not willy-nilly cut? We cut off and fire people. Oh, but they're the ones doing the bird flu inspection. Oh, it's people serving our veterans. On and on and on.
So if I may ask, not to interject, I hate to interject, but it sounds like you're going off. You're going in a bunch of different directions. So there was no sole, solemn reason for all of these protests. They weren't there to represent one big idea. Do you have that for me?
That. Other than the fact that they're mad, they're angry, they are scared. Yes, they're different people with this was not a Democratic only. Most of the people I saw were independent, not heavily involved. Okay, great that the Democrats showed up for the cameras and they got on TV. But most
so what
of
was
these
I
people
supposed to take from this
concerned
as a journalist, as a radio host? What was the message that was supposed to be conveyed?
As a far right, person who's been spewing hatred about, violence is coming, blah, 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 and they have no ideas. People had different ideas, different solutions for all of this stuff.
What would the layman who's not political watching this on their screens, what were they supposed to ascertain from the protest? There must be a message. What was the message, the overarching message in all of it? Even though they were all there for a different bag of things, what are they supposed to see in these protests? What was that message? The one unifying thing.
They're seeing the grassroots. This is the grassroots people all out there, concerned about, the loss of $7 trillion from the stock market. Their 401k going down. More and more higher prices are coming. Pharmaceuticals are going to go up and that sort of stuff. And somehow, I saw a great Dave Chappelle quote, about bringing back Nike jobs from Vietnam. He says he wants to wear them. He didn't want to manufacture Nikes, okay? So he didn't want a job in the plant. These people are concerned. They want dignified, and we've got one man, just 1 minute he's doing this, and the next minute, there's no way. This is the most anti-business. The business industry cannot decide what is going to happen.
Stop for a second. Stop me for a second. Stop. Let me stop you. Let me stop you. Did you hear me play the Bernie Sanders piece from 2015? Did you hear it?
Yeah, I know. You love.
No. I don't love Bernie Sanders. I think Bernie Sanders is a kook. I think Bernie Sanders is a kook. But my question to you is that Bernie Sanders is a darling of the left. He is a democratic socialist. You would have rather him other than
left and part.
But you would have if you had the choice. Wait. If you had the choice back in 2015 and 2016, Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, who would you have gone with? Forget about Jill Stein. Which one of those two would you have gone with? Which guy would have aligned with you?
I like Bernie on a lot
Thank
of
you.
issues. He caves out of caves on a lot of other issues.
So talk to me about Bernie Sanders in 2015 sounding exactly like Donald Trump. Tell me what are you saying?
He was very concerned about, the working class people, the jobs, being shipped off. If you remember NAFTA and GATT that was put together, the people who are opposed to NAFTA and GATT were people like Ralph Nader, Pat Buchanan, Jesse Jackson. You had all sorts of people from different.
Oh, it was a mixed bag then too.
Hey, we're gonna.
So wait a minute. What changed? Hold on, Tim. What changed? If Bernie Sanders gave that dissertation that sounded exactly like Donald Trump today, in fact, it's almost word for word. What changed that Bernie Sanders had his eye on the ball and Donald Trump does not? Are you talking about personal motive? I just want to know, because what Donald Trump is saying today.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, so his personal motive.
Wait. Let me put this zinger out there. It's so funny that millions of people were out protesting, getting mad, getting scared, and all that sort of stuff. Meanwhile, you had the president down with the Saudis, playing golf.
And here he goes. And this is exactly, and you wonder why we get into it. And you wonder why we get into it. And you wonder why I have to cut you off, Tim, because I did. I asked you a specific question, and you telegraph. You telegraph it.
I don't speak for Bernie Sanders.
I'm talking to you. Listen, I don't want you to.
Motivation
wait.
The Democratic Party
stop.
or anybody else.
Tim, stop.
I'm
You
not
don't
a leftist.
stop for a second. You don't know the motivations of Bernie Sanders. But when I asked you if you knew the motivations of Donald Trump, you said you do. So again, stop it. You literally, you don't even hear yourself.
He wants to go down in history. Look, he is a lame.
You're proving the point, man. You're proving my point. You're proving my point. This shows exactly what I just got to put him on hold. This shows, and that's the reason why I got to put you on hold, because you know you're caught. You know, when you know you are in my trap the minute that I said it. I asked you, do you know Donald Trump's motive? You jumped at the chance. I know exactly what Donald Trump's doing. But when I mentioned Bernie Sanders, you don't. You have no clue. Bernie Sanders is closely aligned to your ideology. He may not be on point with yours, but he is closely aligned to your ideology. If there's a way in which you would know what someone was thinking, it clearly would be the guy who has the worldview that you have. Bernie Sanders sounds more like you, clearly much more noble, but his intentions are pure. But you don't know what his intentions are. You don't know what they are. Let me explain it to you since you can't figure it out. Bernie Sanders is a hypocrite. They all are. Because while Bernie Sanders is talking about the working man, when he rails against people with billions of dollars, how many homes do you need? Then finds a way to excuse his own 3 homes.
There are 500,000 people in the United States who are homeless. And you got billionaires who have more money than they can spend in 1,000 lifetimes. How many homes do you need?
How many homes do you need? How many homes? I have 3.
Do I own 3 residences? Yeah, I do. Guess what? I'm a United States Senator.
Not a millionaire or a billionaire. This is why no one can take you seriously. And all you have to do, look, instead of trying to look at me and one-up me, I'm not your enemy here. You're too busy trying to, like, I don't know, beat what's that ESPN show from back in the day? We had to try to beat the guy who knew all the sports stuff. I forget his name. But this isn't a competition between me and you. You don't have to one-up me. Just own up. Just own up to the fact that you're a hypocrite. If you think that Bernie Sanders, sounding like Donald Trump in 2015, and Donald Trump sounding the same as Bernie Sanders from 2015, that Donald Trump doesn't really mean what he says. You can't. You can't say you don't know the motives of Bernie Sanders, but you damn sure do of Trump. Because it's easy to do that. It's easy to hurt or to Swami, that's his name. Beat the Swami. That's it. Thank you, Jim. This is not beat the Swami. Just know what you're talking about. Just literally know what you're talking about. And just admit, instead of the yeah buts, just go, yeah, Bernie did sound exactly like Donald Trump, and Donald Trump sounds exactly like him, because that's all Donald Trump did. He just took Bernie Sanders' idea and he made him work for the American people. That's all. Let's go to Lynn in West Suffield. How you doing, Lynn?
I'm hanging in there. Great job, Reese. Great job.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk to you. I don't know if you knew John Flynn. He was actually running against Chris Murphy for U.S. Senate in Connecticut.
Was that back in 2013, was it?
2024. No, he was running.
Oh, just recently.
Yes.
Okay.
I just found out the other day, not that I was a big follower of him, but I did listen to a lot of his speeches.
Uh-huh.
He was coming out with a lot of corruption and fraud in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
They did put him in jail a couple times.
Oh, wow.
I listened to his speeches. I listened to what he was showing and, people and everything like that. But now I just found out a couple days ago that they actually committed someone in Connecticut, I don't know who, committed him to the Whitney Forensic Hospital, mental hospital in Middletown. What? For exposing corruption, and that they are injecting him with antipsychotics against his will. I want it brought to everyone's attention that this is a political prisoner. There is no doubt in my mind this guy was not psychotic. He did not have mental issues at all. I'm telling you. I did listen to him for years. It wasn't like I backed him or
but you just thought he was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to look into a lot of things, everything, just see where things are going. But yeah, he was exposing corruption and fraud, and they actually did put him in jail a couple times.
I need to
He
look
knew they
into
were
that.
after him. Yeah, you got to look into it. It's at hashtag Free Flynn, FLYNN, and it's at Courtroom Watch, something like that. But they have on X now, Free John Flynn, hashtag Free John Flynn. But he was running as a senator against Murphy.
Okay.
There's something real shady here. I want to tell you something. Not.
You got it,
right?
Lynn. I'll look into it and we'll see if we can talk about it sometime this week. Let me see if I get some details on it, okay?
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. That's a story I can sink my teeth into. Look, we're gonna take a break in a minute, but stay on the line. Everybody who's on the line, just stay on the line. We'll get to you in a second. It's not about shutting up the opposition, but you tripped over your own words. The minute that you said you understood the motivation of Donald Trump, but didn't understand the motivation of Bernie Sanders, you're done. You're just done. And the only reason why you understand the motivation of Donald Trump is because he's your enemy, and you can frame that any way you want to. You're editorializing the guy's motives. You don't know what his motives are, no more than you know what Bernie's are. That's all. Only thing I'm saying is that Bernie Sanders is a hypocrite. Why? Because of his own words. That's all I'm saying. Millionaires and billionaires. I own 3 homes. Jason Caterina, he's in your weather center, and Mark Christopher's in the BPS traffic center. Hey, Mark.
Yeah, if you're a big green guy and you're flying around in your private jet, shut up. This traffic report is being brought to you by the Connecticut Prevention Network. If you're heading into downtown Hartford right now, southbound 91 slowing, getting by 33 Jennings Road, again down by exit 28. Northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slowing, approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound, you're tied up 44 Prospect Oakwood up to 48 Capitol Avenue. 291 through 84, okay, 2 eastbound moving well, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing at the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound in Waterbury, you got tight traffic 22 to the Mixmaster. 84 westbound in Southbury, delays approaching exit 14 up to exit 10 in Newtown. And if you're traveling 95 South New Haven, slowing 46 down to exit 44. Did you know that Connecticut has regional suicide advisory boards that help to eliminate suicide by focusing on prevention and post-vention response? Visit preventsuicidect.org to learn more. And if you or someone you know needs support, call or text 988 Amplify Our Mental Health. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Monday afternoon, colder with rain and drizzle, damp, raw, and chilly with the high only 42. And cloudy with a stray shower late tonight, still chilly, the low down to 36. Mostly cloudy, windy, and chilly on Tuesday, the high 43. Tuesday night, breezy, otherwise partly cloudy and quite cold with the low down to 26. Wednesday, it'll be breezy, mostly sunny, still chilly feeling, the high of 46. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
It's 4:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The UConn women's basketball team is back on campus, fresh off their win over South Carolina in the national championship game on Sunday. Fans have begun filling Gamble Pavilion for a scheduled 5 p.m. rally, Bergam's 12th national championship. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts has agreed to pause a midnight deadline for the Trump administration to return a Maryland man mistakenly deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador. The administration appealed to the Supreme Court on earlier today, arguing a judge overstepped by ordering the administration to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the U.S. The administration has previously acknowledged Abrego Garcia should not have been deported, but argued the government has no way to get him back. President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu meeting at the White House. Netanyahu, the first foreign leader to visit since Trump unleashed tariffs on friends and foe alike last week. In East Hartford, the investigation continues into a shooting from earlier this morning. They say an adult male was found shot in the area of 50 Bidwell Avenue. Injuries said to be non-life-threatening. In Stamford, police there have made an arrest in a hit-and-run from February. Under arrest is 43-year-old Jeremiah Vizzo. Investigators say Bizzo struck a 53-year-old pedestrian while driving an SUV on West Main Street back on February 16th. The victim sustained serious injuries. And North Haven officers say a suspect is in custody in connection with a series of armed gas station stick-ups. 69-year-old Samuel Carmon is charged with multiple counts of robbery. Wall Street, the Dow lost 349 points today. The Nasdaq was up 15. The S&P down 11. In baseball, it's here on TIC tonight. The Red Sox hosting Toronto will go to the pregame immediately after the 6 o'clock news. In Detroit, the Tigers lead the Yankees 5-1. They're in the sixth inning there. And the Mets host the Marlins tonight at Citi Field. NHL Rangers host Tampa Bay. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
My name is Joanne. I'm 75 years old, and I have lost 35 pounds on Awaken 180 weight loss. I was pre-diabetic. I was ready to go on cholesterol medication. My blood pressure was up even on medication. Now I have no need for cholesterol medication. My blood sugar is fine, and I actually am cutting down on my blood pressure medicine. I have knee replacements and hip replacements, and I had difficulty walking, and now I can walk without any problem. I feel lighter. I feel more energetic. It is a lifestyle that will help you to lose weight without medication.
Thanks, Joan. Tom Shattuck here. Stories like Joan's are the reason I continue to share the Awaken 180 message. The results speak for themselves, and I'm confident you'll have the same success if you let them show you how. Do what Joan did, what I did, and what over 24,000 others have done, and choose the solution for weight loss. It's easy. Get them online at awaken180weightloss.com.
When you haven't found
1 minute.
feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam.
And
Questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Build monthly.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I'm here. I promise I'm here. I'm sorry. I was actually just dealing with something real quick on the phones. We'll get to the phones in a second. Okay, so everybody's on hold. Please be patient. I know it's not like it used to be where everybody just got picked up, and I got so much stuff that I need to get to, and if I don't, by tomorrow, it's old news. It's unnecessary, and I don't want to miss that. This show is about being at the forefront of these news stories as they come in, so I apologize if you may have to wait for a little bit, but I try to get to them as fast as possible. With that being said, let's get to this.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
I told you that this was going to happen. I warned that this was going to happen. I've been talking about it for the last 2.5, going on 3 years. There was going to be a point where this whole conversation about men and women's sports were going to eliminate women from the sport entirely. And women were going to wait too long before they stood up. Now, we're seeing some stories with some women. We had a fencing, I guess, athlete who took a knee. We had a frisbee golfing young lady who refused to compete against transgender men. Look, until the real, sort of sports, as it were, till they start stepping up, this is nothing more than a drop in a bucket. But if you can believe this, folks, this is what happened. Daily Caller reports this headline. UK Women's Pool Championship match has 2 transgenders squaring off against each other. That's right. And we're talking about pool, like cue ball, corner, 8-ball, corner pocket pool. Now, again, not probably the most interesting of sports, but nonetheless, two transgenders are going against each other for the championship in the women's competition. They eliminated the last natural-born woman, and now two biological men are going to be there. If that's not nonsense, I don't know what is. If that's not insane, I don't know what is. I told you, I thought the wildest thing I ever saw was when Caitlyn, Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner, was in the running against Reese Witherspoon for Woman of the Year in Glamour magazine. That was the race. Caitlyn Jenner versus Reese Witherspoon for Woman of the Year. I'll never forget it. Go look it up. I think I'm kidding. Go look it up. That's how crazy this has gotten. Gloria Steinem, Jane Fonda, where are you? Where are you? Nowhere to be found. Jason Caterina, he's got your weather. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. It's going crazy.
Yes, I am, Reese. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon, everyone. And if you are heading toward downtown Hartford right now, on the southbound side of I-91, just a little slow, 33 down to 32 A and B. Another bump down by exit 28, Hartford Weather Shield line. Northbound 91, no issues. Cromwell up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slowing Bulkley Bridge to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound tight about a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue up to 48 Capitol Avenue. 291, 384, okay. 2 eastbound moving well, Glastonbury into Marlboro. 9 northbound's a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound is slowing a little bit as you approach the Mixmaster in Waterbury. Westbound 84 slowing, approaching 14 in Southbury. Up to exit 10 in Newtown. Some slow traffic there. 84 eastbound tight in Newtown from exit 10 to 11. And 95 southbound a little slow in New Haven, moving 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
I'm sure it's there somewhere.
Damp, raw, and chilly this afternoon.
Motherfucker wasn't there.
Down the high of 42. Then cloudy tonight. We'll have a stray shower late. Chilly, the low down to 36. Mostly cloudy, windy, and chilly for us on Tuesday as well. The high only 43. Then Tuesday night, breezy, otherwise partly cloudy and quite cold with the low dropping down to 26. Still breezy, mostly sunny and chilly Wednesday with the high 46. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
We have something to buzz about. Call the Bee. Connecticut trusted HVAC plumbing and drain professionals now offer electrical service. Call the Bee is ready to keep your home powered up. Visit callthebee.com. That's calltheletter.b.com to schedule a speedy electrical service today. Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
ProHealth Physicians has proudly been keeping Connecticut healthy for nearly 25 years. ProHealth accepts Husky Medicaid, Medicare, TRICARE, and most major insurances. For trusted local care for your whole family, call 1-855-CT-MD-411 or visit ProHealthMD.com.
How did you get your tripping breakers fixed so fast?
ALO Home Services. Same day electrical. I gave them a call and they had a technician on their way. They even sent the technician's real-time location so I knew when they would be here.
Did you say same day? That's crazy.
If you need same-day electrical, call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO, call for details. Licensed for safety. P1027768, D1040145, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM 3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare
provider. 1 minute.
Appropriate restrictions apply.
Thank you.
For details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To
Anson.
online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, so I'm getting some messages inside the chat room. Let me start by saying, Timmy, if you're running the same argument on the earlier show and then running it here, just don't do that. Please don't. I'm trying to run an original show here. Nothing against Tom. Tom's got his own show, but don't rehash the same argument that you couldn't get any traction out of before. That's just silly. That just shows there's no real honesty in this conversation. But whatever, as it goes. Catherine says, what happened to Mark in West Hartford? I miss hearing his reports on Reese and Tom's. Mark is still out there. In fact, he tagged me on a post today that I didn't get a chance to get into. He's got another story that he's working on. I'll get to that tonight, and I will give you an update on it tomorrow, Catherine. He's still in the mix. He's just, he's doing his thing. He's making sure he's covering the news that the regular mainstream media won't cover. So I'm going to definitely, I'll bring that up. Thank you, Peggy. That was very kind of you. Anyway, let me get back to the phones because I need everybody to get in here before I get into this other story with Chris Murphy and Barack Obama. So let me get to them so they're not on hold any longer. Fulton is in Waterbury. How are you, sir?
I had to talk about what Tim was saying.
Yeah.
So I didn't see much of the protesting. So the 10,000 number, is that the 3.5 numbers in Connecticut? Is that the number? Is that why you said it out loud? I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, I
they come up
guess,
with that-
yeah, there was not a lot in Hartford. I saw many of the protests that people posted online, and it paled in comparison to places like Boston and D.C. because, again, Hartford, although it's the capital city, it's not a major one. So for Hartford, I guess you could.
Question was,
yeah, you get the impression that it's
were
a
they all
lot.
at the same time? All
No,
protest at the same time?
no, they were not. In fact, I mentioned that last week when Hartford Current put the list out. They varied in times.
So, I mean, I heard them on the radio, and I was like, okay, New Milford, Bethel, Brookfield, just think to Danbury. I mean, if they're trying to culminate to a big city, I mean, Danbury down there, Hartford up here, they have all these towns. I mean, was it really 10,000 or was it 1,000 people that went from town to town?
I get what you're saying, Fulton, that's correct. Same crowds, different areas, giving the illusion that they're all there protesting at the same time. Good eye.
Smoke and mirrors.
Exactly.
I mean, that's all kind of smoke and mirrors, right?
And
they
let's
say
not
10,000, 3.5.
And let's not forget, if you watched any of those speeches, like in particular, if you were watching online, you noticed that A.G. William Tongue was speaking at a lectern or speaking at a podium, and he was draped in the sign that read what? Indivisible. A well-funded organization that did, and remember, this was considered their nationwide hands-off rally. So most of this stuff, as Tim tries to suggest, it was organic. Yeah, nonsense.
Right, they all probably had a vest on too, all the same vest, all the same tags. Right, it's all organic, everything is.
Yeah, indeed.
It's happening in Australia too at universities. That's why I'm saying everything's not organic. It's everything's the same. It can't be organic.
Hey, look, if it was organic, that's what I'm saying.
Good to talk to you today, buddy.
You got it, buddy. If it is organic, then, again, it's not even important to go into. Let's go to Joe in New Hampshire. How you doing, Joe?
Hey, I called you 11 days ago. Did you take my advice?
Not necessarily, because that's a long story. But go on. I'm pretty sure that you are seeing the markets now where they are, just at 349. I'm going to ask you, and I'm glad that you called, because I thought about this morning. What did you think of that flux that happened this morning when the rumor came out that Donald Trump was going to ease back 90 days on the tariffs, and then you saw the stock market shoot up? And then when he admitted that, when he came out and said it was fake news, it went back down. What did you make of that?
That was a nefarious person, probably in a hedge fund, that deliberately put a bad rumor out there, knowing that the market would just knee-jerk up.
Exactly.
And it's all in the options market. Someone made probably several people made a tremendous amount of money in 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When I saw the number trend up and then I looked at my headline on the screen, it said Donald Trump may be easing up on the tariffs. And I looked at that and I said, he wouldn't give in that quick. That seemed weird. And then within a minute that I said it, White House says fake news. And I go, that's why. And I'm watching it all in real time. And I'm like, you don't want to give that kind of edge to Donald Trump to let that happen. A fake news story causing it to fluctuate like that. With that kind of power at his fingertips, there's no telling what he'll do.
I'm surprised the far left didn't accuse Trump of putting it out there so he could short and then go long on the market for 15 minutes so he could make money for himself. I'm surprised no one has thought of that to accuse him of that. See, the Democrats aren't that smart when it comes to real, warfare with propaganda.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, if someone thinks of it now, it's really too late.
Yeah.
But they could have come out and said, the Trump Tower, the Trump DJT, his stock.
Right.
Put that out so they could make some very fast millions, if not billions. But that's what happens in the market. There's a lot of nefarious stuff. They have these crash moments sometimes where the computers fail and the market will drop 10% in a minute and then it'll restore itself in 5 minutes. That happens every 3 or 4 years.
Do you think we see Do you think we'll see an uptick by tomorrow, or do you think we're going to stay right at this realm right now?
Well, we're in no man's land right now. The rumor was because the market was suffering so terribly and people were starting to turn against him in the Senate. The rumor was he was going to put it on a 90-day pause so the markets could mend themselves. That was totally wrong. If he were going to do that, he would have done it Friday.
Exactly.
But, what I told you 11 days ago, I told you to get out of Tesla. When I told you it was 278, I think it's down to, 230 now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done better than some of the stocks, but still pretty badly. But the UVIX, I got in that Thursday, 11 days ago. $1 to change. I got out this morning 5 minutes after the open at 90.25. Got to 92, way down because of that false rumor. And what that false rumor has done, it's put a big question mark on everyone now. And it may just churn around for the rest of the week. But the trading range will be great. You could have it, positive 1 hour and quite negative the next.
I don't expect this to last. I don't expect this to last past Wednesday. That's my view.
Well, it depends on the news, really, the news that comes out. Now, Vietnam has offered, or they've taken off their 90% tariff on American goods, namely Nike sneakers. It's all made in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Well, they've eliminated the tariff altogether. So that should benefit Nike Sneakers Incorporated in the sneaker industry. That's
Indeed.
Vietnam. But I'll give you just one little side thing. Thursday, I gave my friend some advice. I said, get out of the market. But I said, Newsmax is coming out with their IPO on the 31st of March, Monday, the last Monday.
Yeah.
And it's set for $10 a share. I said, for a 1 day, 1.5 day trade, try to get in right at the open Monday. And you'll probably get it. It'll be more than 10, but maybe you can get in for 15. And I said, put in a number because it's going to move so fast. You won't be able to change your mind in a half a minute or a minute.
It did. And actually, that was probably the wildest roller coaster ride I've seen in years.
Well, listen to what happened to my friend up here in New Hampshire. He took my advice. He bought 2,000 shares and he put in the number 15 before the market opened. So he got it because it was 14 at the very open.
Uh-huh.
It closed around 86. And he called me around 3. He says, it's up around 80 right now. What do you think? Tomorrow's a better day? I says, well, if it stays up near the high of the day, I might go another half a day. I said, it probably could start selling off any minute. I says, I don't know what to tell you, but you're already up 15 to, 80. I said, 2,000 shares, that's a pretty good day's work.
Did he sell?
So he ended up selling right at the close. He got about 84. So you got $168,000.
Not bad.
For $30,000. Very, very happy. But what happened the next day? It gapped up at the open about 127, and it peaked around 3:15 in the afternoon at 265, and then it settled Tuesday around 2:32.
Yeah,
And,
I saw. Yeah,
he called me
I
back.
saw all of that. There were a lot of people on Media that were poking fun at it. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you, buddy. Let's go to Fred in Middletown before we take a break. What's going on, Fred?
Hey, in order of importance, I heard that John Flynn thing. Ferris Food told me about that. Yeah,
that was Lynn.
Said,
Yeah.
Way he phrased it was Lamont sent his thugs and threw him in a mental hospital under like insanity and hurt him, arresting him. Yeah, that's bad news. If that doesn't get out on TIC, it's not getting out. Although I guess DRC Byron was also talking about it because I guess he was a regular over there, John Flynn. Tim is out of control. You need an update. You guys had him, and now he's like learned, and he's getting pesky again. He's just a troll, and of course he makes the same call twice.
I know. What is that about? And like, look, no offense, but I can't monitor Tom's show.
Like, for example, but let me tell you what Tom does as a rule with him, but occasionally he even slips up. Tim is just there to like slap you, so Tom just slap fights him, and Tom is bigger, stronger, younger, has longer arms, and he can push him out the door, and it's great fun. But every now and then, like Tom forgets that it's just a slap fight. Tim gets the better of him.
Right.
And it seems, and let's see, there was one other thing. Oh, they're selling the '60s again with these protests.
Oh,
this is
talk about. You know what, Fred? You're right on that. You literally. I don't mind that you're stealing my thunder on this one, but you're 100% right. As I was looking at it, seriously. As I'm looking at it, I'm saying to myself, "Look, somebody else got another crack at the apple. I mean, another bite at the apple.
Yeah. Another bite at the apple without a crack at the head.
Yeah, exactly. Without a crack at the head, exactly, because it's a completely different movement now. And guess what? You can go out there and protest anything under the sun as long as you're there amongst, like in essence, you're in a group of people who no matter what you stand for, it's the antithesis of the administration, so you're welcome. The only people who need not apply is anyone who's there promoting, in this case, the establishment, that is Donald Trump or Elon Musk. Those people are not allowed. But everybody else, you can be the trans activist, you can be, the anarchist, you can be the capital, you can be the communist. It doesn't matter. As long as, do you hate Donald Trump? That's the secret password.
That's what you need to get in. Real quick, 10 seconds. I got on this site called Mad About Boxing.
Yeah.
You had to give your favorite boxer, to see if you were worthy to get on.
Oh,
the
wow.
Site, Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Who did you pick? Who'd you pick?
Oh, Rocky Marciano.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the name said? You ever see that movie In Living Color? No, not In Living Color. I'm sorry, that movie Coming to America?
Yes.
You remember that side? It's like, here he come. Every time we talk about Joe Louis, some white man got to come up with Rocky Marciano.
Yeah. But, I'll tell you why next time. I'll make a Rocky Marciano call. I'm kind of a boxing fan.
Me too. I miss boxing in its heyday, man. I miss it every day.
Oh, there's something that absolutely ain't what it used to be. And it was better back in the day. I mean, 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, Jake LaMotta, Sugar Ray Robinson.
Yeah, it's just
Muhammad Ali, of course.
Yeah, just never ever going to be the same. I guess, hey, like I said, just because it's beautiful doesn't mean it should last. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Yeah, I miss boxing in a big way. Wow, it's never ever going to be the same again. Adam, I'm sorry. Hold on if you can, but if not, just call back. I promise I'll talk to you in the next hour because we're going to go to a break very soon. In the next hour, we'll talk about this. You might remember I talked about Chris Murphy on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. And it was a big deal for Chris Murphy because, a popular comedy show about politics. Chris Murphy being on that show is a big deal for him. And he's got, his girlfriend has got him, she's kind of his PR person. But Chris Murphy in that conversation with Jon Stewart said something I found very, very interesting. And I talked about it a little bit the day after it aired. Listen to Chris Murphy again.
Moment requires us to break norms. This moment requires us to take risks. And I get it. A lot of my colleagues said shutting down the government, being in a government shutdown, that's a risk. That hands power to Donald Trump and Elon Musk. But how on earth are we going to ask the American people to take risks for us? right? When there's a 5-alarm constitutional fire and we need them to be out on the streets, not with hundreds, not with thousands or tens of thousands of people, but with hundreds of thousands of people, if we're not willing to show courage and take risks ourselves.
So he's out there telling people that they need to take risks. He said, you can't expect them to go out there and take risks if we're not willing to take risks with them. And Barack Obama over the weekend was giving, I guess, some chat. And he said this.
It has been easy during most of our lifetimes to say you are a progressive and not have to pay a price for it. Now we're at one of those moments where, you know what, it's not enough just to say you're for something. You may actually have to do something and possibly sacrifice a little bit.
Why are they saying this now? That's both of them speaking to their constituents, saying they need them to go out there and make some sacrifices. When we come back in the next hour, I'll tell you exactly what they're talking about. You're not going to believe it. I'm positive of it. I am absolutely positive of it. And the November 5th election is why Chris Murphy and Donald Trump, and Barack Obama, I should say, are talking about sacrifices or putting themselves at risk. I'll explain that in a bit. All right, for now, let's get back into the weather and traffic. Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, bud.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, everyone. If you're heading into downtown Hartford right now, overall, you're in pretty good shape. Checking out the right, southbound 91, just a little slow, 33 down to 32 A and B, and again, 27 to 28. Northbound 91's a little tight as you move up bikes at 36. Westbound 84 slows approaching the Bulky Bridge out to 45. Flatbush 84 eastbound is tight up a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue up to 48 Capitol Avenue. 291 through 84 okay east of the river, 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury to Marlboro. If you're traveling southbound Route 9, you're a little tight Cromwell Middletown line down to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound slows by the Mixmaster in Waterbury. 84 westbound Southbury tight up approaching exit 14 up to 10 in Newtown. 84 eastbound, you've got some delays now approaching 10 up to the Rochambeau Bridge in Newtown. If you're traveling toward New Haven, 95 southbound tight, 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Monday afternoon, a colder, damp, raw, and chilly day with that rain and drizzle around. The high only 42. Still cloudy tonight. There'll be a stray shower late. The low down to 36. Now on Tuesday, mostly cloudy, windy, a chilly day overall. The high only 43. Then Tuesday night, partly cloudy, quite cold, breezy too, with the low dropping down to 26. Now Wednesday, still breezy, mostly sunny, another chilly day, but the high moving up to 46. Now some sun before turning cloudy on Thursday, just a touch milder with the high up to 52. Periods of rain on Friday with the high of 54. Then heavy rain continues Friday night, the low dropping down to 45. The rain continues as we head into the day on Saturday with occasional rain and drizzle, the high of 56 for us during the day on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Follow WTIC News Talk 1080. Don't miss out on important updates in Connecticut. From breaking need-to-know news, weather alerts, and more. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app. Now, WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, 40 degrees and cloudy skies in Hartford. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The Yukon women's basketball team set for a Gamble Pavilion rally with many of their closest friends coming off their 12th national championship. WTIC's Dave Makers in stores.
The rally is a good chance to sell championship merchandise. Some fans came to the Yukon bookstore for T-shirts and hoodies. There's a deep appreciation for this team, especially with Paige Beckers and AZ Fudd coming back from major knee injuries. A big fan, Emma Hall, is a Yukon junior from Ellington. What is it about this team that's special?
I just think you can see their hard work. Obviously, they've battled through injury the past few years, and it's just finally really good to see their hard work pay off, and they persevered through a lot of challenges, and they played amazing, as they always do.
Emma was looking over championship T-shirts, which are running about $35 at the bookstore. The sweatshirts are about $85. In stores, Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News.
Chief Justice John Roberts has agreed to pause a midnight deadline for the Trump administration to return a Maryland man mistakenly deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador. The administration appealed to the Supreme Court after a judge ordered the administration to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the U.S. by midnight. Loyola Law's Lori Levinson weighs in on Justice Roberts' decision.
This is a big issue because the administration has said that they just don't have the power and that the court doesn't have the power to order them to bring this individual back. But there's no real holding yet by the Supreme Court. It's rather the Chief Justice putting the matter on pause so that the Supreme Court can sort out what's going on.
President Trump met at the White House today with Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu. They discussed a number of key issues, including tariffs Trump has imposed on Israel.
We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do.
Two men also discussed a ceasefire with Hamas and talks with Iran on nuclear weapons, with Trump saying a meeting with Tehran was forthcoming. A bill making its way through the Connecticut General Assembly would ensure that those working in warehouses are protected from becoming a statistic. The measure calls for employees to be made aware of any quotas they may be subject to. Rocco Callo is executive officer for Teamsters Local 1150 and describes what warehouse workers face more often than not.
These are secret quotas that they're trying to perform to because they're always constantly in fear of losing their job. These quotas, in turn, fuel the pressure that our warehouse folks feel, and it drives them to get hurt on the job.
The bill also ensures workers are allowed breaks for bathroom use and meals without fear of retribution. This bill has been approved by the Labor Committee and is pending further action. Man's under arrest in connection with a string of armed robberies in North Haven. In February, police say in the space of a week, 3 gas stations in town were hit. Investigators say in each incident, 69-year-old Samuel Carmon of New Haven implied he had a weapon. They were able to secure arrest warrants in the cases through interviews, physical evidence, and assistance from other agencies. Carmon faces charges of larceny, threatening, and robbery. He's already behind bars on for crimes committed outside of North Haven. Bond set in the robberies at $550,000. Wall Street, the Dow down 349 points today. The NASDAQ up 15, the S&P down 11. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hard 1 minute. Lead to success. But easily filing your taxes with TurboTax and Credit Karma doesn't hurt either. Make filing taxes a walk in the park because we'll pre-fill your info for you so you can file quickly and confidently. Winner! Get the peace of mind that comes with expert help. Let's go! Being powered by TurboTax means you're backed by the leading tax preparer, and we'll show you all your filing options up front so there are no surprises. File your taxes on Intuit Credit Karma today. Expert help not available with all products. Guarantee details available at turbotax.com/guarantee.
Connecticut hospitals care for more than just patients. They care for our workforce, creating 245,000 jobs. They care for our economy as the largest employer in Connecticut. They care for our communities, connecting residents to health screenings, nutritious food, and stable housing. And they care for our future, making healthcare accessible, equitable, and affordable. Connecticut hospitals create real change by caring for Connecticut. Learn more at caringforct.org.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Don't forget this hour, last but not least, caller of the day wins a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Manchester, and Vernon. I guess I can just admit, Vernon, nothing against you, but Manchester it's my favorite place. I moved to Manchester when I got into Hartford back in 2004. Manchester was the first town I moved to, and I met one of my best friends. I say that term loosely because I know I haven't seen him in so many years, but when I say one of my best friends, I still love this guy. He's always going to be kind of like a member. I treat him like a brother. Chris, I just say Chris B. And I know he listens all the time, Chris, so you know who I'm talking about. Chris was the guy who introduced me to the Killers. I remember going over to his house, and he was just absolutely so in love with the Hot Fuss album. He was like, you got to get this now. You got to listen to this album. And we sat down in his house and listened to the entire album. And I've loved that album ever since. And it's one of the weird, we were grown men listening to a rock album. And it reminded me of being a teenager, hanging out with my boys, listening to Run DMC's Tougher Than Leather when it came out. And Chris will remember that moment. He probably won't. But if he doesn't, that's just a reminder. It was at his house in Manchester listening to Hot Fuss. And he was actually with me when the I was hanging out with him when the Red Sox finally won their World Series. And I'm positive, I may be wrong about this, but I think he and I were together during the national championships for UConn men's and women. If not for women's, it was definitely for men's. But and that was the year we met when I moved to Manchester. So I've got a lot of very considerable memories moving to I'd never lived in Connecticut my entire life. If I'd been there, it was like maybe driving through to Rhode Island. I'd never really been there. So Manchester was the first place where I lived, and I made friends, and I hung out. Buckland Hills Mall. I had lunch almost every day at the Red Robin right next door. So that's, it holds a deep... When I say it's my favorite place, it just is. And I know there's some people out there saying, you need to come to our town. I could, but this is sentimental to me. Wicker Park, all that stuff's sentimental to me. Anyway, let's get a check of the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Have you always lived outside in the outskirts of Hartford area, Mark?
I lived in Manchester for... Let's see, I got there in 93. I left in 05.
In 05. Wow, you were there for a while.
No, 89 to 05.
Holy moly. So you were there for a spell.
I was there for I lived in the Buckland Hills apartments right across.
No way, so did I.
There you go.
I lived right across the street from the Buckland Hills Mall in a Buckland Hills apartment.
You might have seen me skinny dipping there a few nights. We had a bunch of us just jumped over the fence one night. Actually, I think I stayed in one because I didn't move into an apartment across. I moved into the Fountain Hills, Fountain something? I forget, but the apartments across the street from the Wicker Park. I lived in that. Yeah, I know exactly. Wicker Park. Yeah, right on 6 and 44. Right
exactly.
Wickham Park is beautiful.
Right,
by the way.
it is. I love that place.
It's gorgeous.
That was where I first found out about Frisbee golf. I didn't even know what that was until I moved there. And I lived across the street from there. That summer, I had only went in that pool across the street from Buckland Hills Mall. I'd only been to that pool once. I brought the kids out there sometime early August before we moved to the Fountain Terrace or Fountain whatever it was called. Oh, yeah. But yeah, it was a while there.
There was some crazy stuff going back.
I can imagine.
The ground round down there.
Yes, the ground round. Oh, don't even. Oh my goodness.
A lot of late nights there. If you're heading into downtown Hartford right now, this traffic report is being brought to you by Tab Computer Systems, a 100% employee-owned company. And if you're traveling southbound 91, you got delays 33 down to 32A and B. Again, a little slowdown by exit 28. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up East Hartford, approaching the Bulky Bridge out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound tied up 46 up to 48 Capitol Avenue. Looks good 291 through 84. If you are traveling, I didn't mention this earlier, but if you're traveling westbound in the tunnel, use caution. There's an accident on the right shoulder there. 2 eastbound moving well. Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. Waterbury's okay. 84 and 8. Very heavy 84 westbound as you move from 15 in Southbury up to exit 10 in Newtown. So there could be some construction going on there. So that's a delay with that. And if you're heading into New Haven, 95 southbound, you're slowing 46 down to 44 in the southbound side of 95. At Tab Computer Systems, our employee owners are dedicated to your business success. We offer affordable enterprise-grade solutions in cybersecurity, VoIP, compliance, IT consulting, implementation, and support. Technology.
Craig, I know exactly what you're talking about. That place is it's overrun with them now.
Together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Still some showers and drizzle out there, but cloudy with a stray shower late tonight. Chilly, the low down to 36. Mostly cloudy, windy, and chilly as we head through the day on Tuesday. The high only 43. Cold night for us Tuesday night, partly cloudy, dropping down to 26. Breezy on Wednesday, still feeling chilly, although mostly sunny, the high 46. Some sun, then turning cloudy Thursday, the high 52, and a rainy Friday with the high of 54. Right now, it's 43 in Meriden, it's 39 in Mansfield, 41 in New London, and 41 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
It's the Peter L. Brown Company's 65th anniversary. For a limited time, purchase high-performance double-pane windows from the Peter L. Brown Company and get an upgrade to super-efficient triple-pane glass at no additional charge. For a free estimate, please visit peterlbrown.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Hey, fellow Gen Xers, it's Elizabeth Banks. Big news! The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the charge. After all, we gave the world the internet. We're trailblazers. Let's lead the way again because we are at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Head to vaxassist.com and schedule today. That's vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like
1 minute
else has. Every movie
Thanks,
has a
sir.
love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Well, the joy of early bedtime. And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you.
Looking for love sucks.
We connect you with the very
Unless a comrade, has a wife that has a cousin that
If your reading isn't life-changing,
That girl's trouble, man.
Oh, I already know.
or connect with us at California
Those are the fun ones though.
Oh, yeah.
New customers receive
Gosh, I can
20
tell you those
minutes
stories.
for just $20.
Fun
So you
girl.
could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Reese on the Radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk.
Drop it.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Let me get to these phones real quick, and then I want to talk about this Chris Murphy, Barack Obama thing. Adam is in East Hartford. Thanks for holding on, Adam. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Reese, I apologize. I'm in a Dunkin' Donuts in South Windsor, but I still got to get over there and try one of those peanut butter and jelly bagels, all right?
No doubt, no doubt. Anyway, so what do you got?
Today, I don't mind if you say to me, Adam, don't worry, cool out, chill. Would you say don't worry about these tariffs and us being wiped out financially, being able to afford things?
What I'm saying, okay, I'm saying that without saying that, but let me put it this way. As I've made clear for the longest, pay very close attention to the people who are spewing a lot of the nonsense, and then just go back to their earlier commentary. The Bernie Sanders thing is the tip of the iceberg. I may have played, if you remember on Friday, I played Nancy Pelosi talking about the same thing. Here she is, right here, again, sounding exactly like Donald Trump in 1996. And there's a very, very good point to be made about what Nancy Pelosi says here, and that is this. Many people try to tell guys like me, conservatives, that Donald Trump is not a Republican. He never has been, never will be a Republican. He's always been a Democrat. I don't know why you Republicans are fooled by him. Right now, there's an article on Glenn Beck's website, blaze.com. You want to know what the headline says? When did conservatives become for tariffs? Right? Because again, that's never been the case. It's never been the argument for conservatives. Something happened. And here's what happened. It's the left that turned. Once they started shipping all of our jobs overseas because they felt as though they should help the world economy, which was nothing more than like the prerequisite to globalism, and that's what it is. It's a prerequisite to globalism by moving our jobs and outsourcing our manufacturing outside of the country to join a global market. That's all it was. Donald Trump realized that, and it was quote-unquote anti-American. So here's Nancy Pelosi, 1996, again, during the Clinton administration.
How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker? And how much more dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo? I'd like to call the attention of our colleagues to this chart on the status quo that the business community is asking each and every one of you, each and every one of us to endorse today. Right now, we have a $34 billion trade deficit with China, the 1995 figure. It will be over $40 billion for 1996. Since the Tiananmen Square massacre, this figure has increased 1,000%, from $3.5 billion then to about $34 billion now. In terms of tariffs, I think it's interesting to note that the average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal?
Sounds like Donald Trump to me, does it not to you?
You're right.
Yeah, so again, when people say, I left the Democrat Party, I didn't leave them, they left me. Nancy Pelosi left her own ideals from 1996 on the floor in which she was speaking on that day in 1996. They're not the people who they were. They flipped. They care more about corporate interests than they do about the American people, and they used to care about the American people. So when people say, why do they no longer care about the working class? There's your example, because they don't represent that anymore. They ceded that ground. They ceded that ground to Donald Trump, and he took advantage of it. And that's where we are now. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, man. Let's go to Bill in North Carolina. Where in North Carolina, Bill?
Rutherford County, Western North Carolina.
Okay. What? Wait a minute. So you were Western North Carolina. Were you in the path of what was it? Hurricane Helene?
Yes, we were.
Wow.
It was really bad. We lost power for a few days.
Wow.
I have a question for you.
What do you got?
Here. When is the pep rally in Yukon going to begin today?
Is it supposed to be today? They just got back. I heard they just touched ground.
Yeah, because they usually have the, I thought they always have like every year, like whenever they win it, like whatever team wins, they have like the rally at the school when the plane lands down.
Right. Usually at the airport, they'll have sort of like a mini one where they'll come out and they'll speak and talk about I didn't hear anything about that. In fact, top of the hour news just mentioned that they had touched down, but they didn't seem to mention anything about a pep rally or being met by onlookers or celebrants in any particular way. We'll look into it. We'll make a mention of it, and I'm sure that the news is listening right now. Maybe they'll make an announcement at the bottom of the hour.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
You got it, sir. So let me play this again. Barack Obama, Chris Murphy, talking about how people, we can't tell people to take risks if we're not willing to take them on our own. And Barack Obama telling people they need to make sacrifices. Here's Chris Murphy.
Moment requires us to break norms. This moment requires us to take risks. And I get it. A lot of my colleagues said, shutting down the government, being in a government shutdown, that's a risk. That hands power to Donald Trump and Elon Musk. But how on earth are we going to ask the American people to take risks for us? right? When there's a 5-alarm constitutional fire and we need them to be out on the streets, not with hundreds, not with thousands or tens of thousands of people, but with hundreds of thousands of people, if we're not willing to show courage and take risks ourselves.
So they need to be willing to take risks, right? We can't ask people to take risks unless we're willing to take them ourselves. Then Barack Obama over the weekend said this.
It has been easy during most of our lifetimes to say you are a progressive and not have to pay a price for it. Now we're at one of those moments where, you know what, it's not enough just to say you're for something. You may actually have to do something and possibly sacrifice a little bit.
Now, what could he possibly be talking about? Listen closely. Mark my words. This is exactly what they're talking about. Wink, wink, nod, nod, January 6th. Wink, wink, nod, nod, January 6th. Who denies that's what it's about? What did Democrats learn, if anything, about the last election? What did they learn? What are they hearing from their constituents? Do something. Do something now. If you listen to their constituents, even some of them are calling for violence. Listen.
What are we protesting today?
Donald Trump.
Well, what's Donald Trump doing that we're protesting?
Well, he is fucking up the American democracy right now and trying to kind of repeal a bunch in the Constitution, like, rights and liberties. So,
is there anything in specific that
I don't have all the information, but I do know.
What are you against?
Personally, I'm against tyrants. I'm against tyranny. That's what I'm against.
What is that?
Somebody who's coming in and trying to take over the country and get rid of the rules and regulations that have existed for centuries to keep us citizens safe.
And who do you think is doing that?
Currently, Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all of his cabinet members.
Why Elon Musk, though?
The Department of Government Efficiency, he was put in charge of a department that doesn't even exist before this, and he's not even an American.
Who's not an American?
Elon Musk.
Okay,
He's from South Africa. I don't know if you knew that.
How do you feel about that?
Do you understand that? Here is a leftist who would fight for the right of an illegal to stay in the country. But they're arguing the fact that Elon Musk has no right to weed out fraud and corruption in our government because he's not even an American. He's born in South Africa. Well, Manuel, he was born in El Salvador. You feel the same way about him? No, he's different. Yeah. He's sucking on the teat of the American taxpayer. He gets to stay. But Elon trying to get rid of that waste, criminal. The interviewer went on to ask him about what he hopes for Donald Trump. Listen.
Donald Trump.
I think that he deserves to die.
You should what?
Die.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what they're talking about. What other sacrifice could they be asking their constituents to make? They went out there and they rallied. They went out there and they got boots on the ground and held up signs. They can't do anything just by showing a show of force out here protesting. What does that do? Well, sure, it's going to get a couple of coverage. It's going to get some coverage in the news media. Sure, it's going to get them ink inside the newspapers. Sure, they'll be all over at CNN and MSNBC, but don't forget, no one watches those networks. There's nobody who's sympathetic to their cause over at MSNBC or CNN that's worth even having as an audience. No one's watching them. The one place where people are talking about them or see those protests is on a place where people actually view, and that's on Fox News. And you know the folks on Fox News are going to scrutinize them. So there is absolutely no winning room for these protests. What else is left for them? Donald Trump came into the election of 2024 with 4 criminal cases against him, 34 felony counts, found guilty, an assassination attempt, 2, a man who was considered a Nazi, a fascist, racist, everything to boot. And the one thing that they hung their hat on every day was January 6th. It meant nothing. It actually won them the election. You don't think that Barack Obama, you don't think that Chris Murphy or any one of them are going wink, wink, nod, nod? They have to sacrifice. What could they possibly sacrifice? Their freedom? They have to sacrifice something. What does real sacrifice sound like? When I hear a politician talk about sacrifice, I think of Pol Pot. I think of the Weather Underground. When I hear sacrifice, these people have to, you can't just be a progressive anymore. You can't just go on Facebook and say, oh, I support this. You can't do it anymore. You got to go one step further. You can't just go out and protest. You got to do something else. You have to sacrifice. Well, what are you going to sacrifice? Everything about them is an existential threat. Someone has to lay down their lives. It's all a religion to them. Think about it. They're aborting their babies. They're refusing to have children. Folks, they're setting themselves on fire. Literally, not figuratively. You had one woman who killed her father. You had another one who destroyed her career as a teacher. Another young man shot a healthcare professional, a healthcare CEO, now possibly sits on death row. This is what they mean by sacrifice. How could they not? How could they not? What else is left? They can't just be talking about it. Other than that, they're doing exactly what, according to Barack Obama knew that those protests were going on. He knew that there were hundreds of thousands of people across the country. Tim just told you. He was congratulating them. Well, while that's going on, Donald Trump is saying you got to do more. Barack Obama is saying you got to do more. You've got to do more. Well, what do you think more is? You tell me. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Let's get to Jason Caterina in the Weather Center and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, man.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're westbound 84 delays in East Hartford approaching the Bulkley Bridge, we have an accident inside the tunnel, right shoulder. Delays continue out to 46 Sisson Avenue. 84 eastbound slows about a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue up into the tunnel. Southbound 91 losing speed 33 to 32. Another bump down by exit 28. Northbound 91 easy ride Cromwell up into Windsor. 291 384, that looks good. Two eastbounds in great shape. Glastonbury into Marlboro. Quiet Middletown 9 in the Aragoni Bridge. Waterbury 84 west a little slow at 22. Westbound 84 is tight in Southbury 15 to 14. Again, westbound 84 running slow from 10 to exit 9 in Newtown. 84 eastbound Danbury slightly slow from 3 to 5 on the eastbound side of 84. 95 south in the Parkway southbound moving well into New Haven. 95 southbound, you're slowing 46 to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Monday afternoon, a colder, damp, raw, and chilly day with that rain and drizzle around. The high only 42. Still cloudy tonight. There'll be a stray shower late. The low down to 36. Now on Tuesday, mostly cloudy, windy, a chilly day overall. The high only 43. Then Tuesday night, partly cloudy, quite cold, breezy too, with the low dropping down to 26. Now Wednesday, still breezy, mostly sunny, another chilly day, but the high moving up to 46. Now some sun before turning cloudy on Thursday, just a touch milder, but the high up to 52. Periods of rain on Friday with the high of 54. Then heavy rain continues Friday night, the low dropping down to 45. The rain continues as we head into the day on Saturday with occasional rain and drizzle, the high of 56 for us during the day on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
5:30, 40 degrees and cloudy skies in Hartford. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Well, it's cloudy in most of the state, but the sun is shining in stores this afternoon as UConn welcomed its national championship winning women's basketball team back to campus today. The Huskies, fresh off their win over South Carolina on Sunday, were greeted by a few thousand of their closest friends. Guard AZ Fudd says it still hasn't sunk in, their national champs.
You guys have made this extremely special, and for continuing to believe in us ever since I've gotten here these 4 years. Just your support has never wavered, and we're so grateful for that.
Parade honoring the champs is reportedly in the works for sometime later in the week. East Hartford police continue their investigation into an early morning shooting. The shooting occurred, they say, at 50 Bidwell Avenue. One man was found shot, taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. There's still no word on a motive or any suspects. 3 people have died from measles-related illnesses in the U.S. since the virus started ripping through West Texas in late January. The U.S. has more than doubled the total number of measles cases in 2024. Trial of a man accused in the killing of a woman in Ansonia in 2019 is underway in Milford. Jury selection began today. Jose Morales is charged in the murder of Christine Holloway in December of 2019. Their daughter, Vanessa, who was 14 months old at the time, has been missing since. President Trump and his Israeli counterpart, Benjamin Netanyahu, meeting at the White House today. The two talked about a number of different issues, including the ceasefire that fell apart with Hamas. And Netanyahu, actually the first foreign leader to visit the White House since the president announced a number of tariffs on nations last week. The rivers rose and flooding worsened across the U.S. South and Midwest, threatening communities already waterlogged and badly damaged by days of heavy rain that killed at least 20 people. Wall Street, the Dow lost 349 points today. The NASDAQ gained 15, the S&P down 11. Red Sox baseball on TIC this evening. Immediately after the 6 o'clock news, it's the Red Sox opening a series at Fenway against Toronto. The Yankees are trailing the Detroit Tigers 6-2 now. They're in the top of the ninth out there. And the Mets will host the Miami Marlins later this evening at Citi Field. NHL, it's the Rangers at the Garden. They'll take on Tampa Bay. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that. And often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improve mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make a change for the good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices across the Northeast to serve you. Northeast Men's Health, a Promedic restorative health practice.
We all hear the radio ads about the... They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Hi, it's Chris Francis, former WTIC news anchor and reporter. Happy birthday, WTIC News Talk 1080.
Ah, that was nice of him. That's right, 100. Keeping it 100. It's News Talk 1080 WTIC. We'll get to the phones in a minute. And don't forget, you can call in and be our last but not least caller of the day, who will get a between rounds, I can only say it's probably coolest gift in the world, a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Vernon, and Manchester. So I don't care about the outrage. What should be done in the last break? Let me lay this out for anyone who needs to understand where I'm coming from. You know, deep down inside, that people's reaction to the act of trying to shoot Donald Trump on July 13th of last year was met by celebration, jubilation by the left, with the exception of those who were so outraged by it, became Trump acolytes. You know it, and I know it. I was reading over the weekend, I always say that, but I mean that term loosely. I was listening to the book Fight. And there's a chapter in the book called Fight, 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 which talks about the event of July 13th. And one of the staffers on the Biden campaign, because remember, Biden was gone, and Biden doesn't get out until the week after. Why? Because of the assassination attempt. Because he was insurmountable. A staffer is quoted in the book. He was at home at his he was at his mother's house eating dinner, and he had got a buzz on his phone that said that Donald Trump had been shot at. And his first words as he looked at it on the screen was, "Holy F, he's gonna win." That was their words. And then they warned everybody on their staff to stay off social media. Anyone want to take a guess why? Why would they tell the Joe Biden staff to stay off social media? You know why. I know why. Everybody else can pretend that they don't know why, but you know damn well why they told them, don't you dare say a thing on social media. Stay off. They didn't even tell them to give their condolences. They said, stay off social media. Why? Because they already knew what the sentiment was. They knew that somebody in their staff was going to go on social media and echo the actions of Thomas Crooks. Please spare me your outrage. But I think that sacrifice by Barack Obama and Chris Murphy is calling for nothing more than violence. We know it. Jasmine Crockett is your talking point. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Jasmine Crockett have the highest ratings in Democrats for Democrats right now. Spare me. Let's get another check of the traffic and weather with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon, everyone. And if you're heading into Hartford right now, this traffic report is being brought to you by Columbia Implant Center in Manchester. And on the southbound side of I-91, look for just a little slowdown as you move between 33 and 32. Northbound 91, easy ride Cromwell up into Windsor. If you're traveling westbound 84, a little tap of the brakes as you move between 47 and 45. Flatbush 84 eastbound slows approaching 46 into the tunnel. 291 through 84 okay. 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. If you're traveling 91 southbound, a little slow as you move between exit 18 and 17 for the Wilbur Cross Parkway. Westbound 84 Waterbury slowing by 18. 84 westbound in Southbury, some tight traffic between exit 15 and 14. Again, westbound 84 slowing in Newtown from approaching exit 11 down to just about exit 9 in Newtown. If you are traveling down into New Haven, 91 of the Parkway moving well, and southbound 95 losing some speed between exit 44 and 43 as you make your way into West Haven. Traffic got you down? Turn that frown upside down at Columbia Implant Center in Manchester. They offer fast, efficient dental implant procedures, complete in a single visit, open 7 days a week for your convenience. Don't wait. Visit ColumbiaImplantCenter.com. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Still a couple of spotty showers out there. Otherwise, cloudy with a stray shower late tonight. Chilly, the low down to 36. Windy and chilly feeling day, if not cold day for Tuesday. Mostly cloudy, the high 43. Still breezy tomorrow night. Otherwise, partly cloudy and colder. The low all the way down to 26. Now, after a breezy start Wednesday, mostly sunny. Still feeling chilly with the high up to 46. Some sun to start Thursday, then turns cloudy, the high 52, and then a rainy Friday with the high of 54. Right now it is, 45 in New Haven. It's 37 at Waterbury, 41 at Danbury, 40 in Bristol, and 39 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
At Columbia Dental, we love to make kids smile. Our expert pediatric dentists specialize in children's dental care, making every visit fun and comfortable. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
We have something to buzz about. Call the Bee. Connecticut trusted HVAC plumbing and drain professionals now offer electrical service. Call the Bee is ready to keep your home powered up. Visit callthebee.com. That's callthelletterb.com to schedule a speedy electrical service today.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. My friend Phil just finished month 2 of Awaken 180 weight loss. All right, Phil, it is the end of week 8 now, according to my calendar. And how are we looking?
We're looking good, Tom. This past week, I dropped another 4.8. Since the start date of February 5, I'm down 46 pounds.
Dang, that is amazing. So it's about right around 6 pounds per week.
The weight loss speaks for itself. It's keeping me motivated. I have no desire to cheat.
You're definitely a much thinner guy now. You look like a new Phil. And Phil, don't take this the wrong way, but you look younger too.
Well, that's a compliment, Tom. I thank you. In fact, I go to the local Y to do, some moderate workouts, nothing too crazy. And a guy came up to me and he said, "Man, you look great."
Phil does look great, and he's losing weight by eating right through Awaken 180 weight loss, and not by taking some experimental drug with a clinical name you can't pronounce. Make your consultation today at 844-346-1800 or at awaken180weightloss.com.
1 minute.
Groceries? And when's the last time you checked your wireless bill?
You got it.
When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more. And as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code.
Here we go.
swishradio.com, code FAST.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
There is what's called the timeline of select far-left violence. They got it from 2016 all the way down to 2022. And every one of them, you know. Every one of them, you know. I didn't even go back into the Weather Underground. I didn't even go back to the radical Black Panther movie. I didn't even go there. It's like, James Hodgkinson. I mean, who was he the biggest fan of? Rachel Maddow and Bernie Sanders. He literally destroyed his own wife. He made his wife a widow. He left his home in suburban, Illinois? Drove all the way down and hung out at a laundromat, staking out a baseball field. To only have his life exterminated. For what? Health care? Slow down, bro. Just slow down. I just take them at their word. I just listen to what they say. Everybody else has the blinders on. 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Kevin in Newington. Hey, Kevin, thanks for holding, buddy.
I disagree with real quickly. I got some good points. I disagree with your conclusions on what Obama was saying and so forth. I think
okay.
As far as sacrificing is concerned, I think they're referring to the potential of inflation and shortages that they've been preaching is going to be the environment with these tariffs. Also, number two, go back and look at the late 80s. That's as far back as I can go, but maybe it was longer than that. But a lot of American companies, manufacturing companies, were making their products here in this country, in Mexico, and they were bringing them back into this country through San Diego, okay, and packaging them as American products, and they were doing them much cheaper, okay?
Right.
Now, for us to bring back these so-called manufacturing jobs today, I mean, granted, a lot would be eliminated because of the artificial intelligence and so forth.
Sure.
But the fact is, any jobs that were created here would be far more expensive than they are overseas.
Right.
So this could be a two-edged sword for Mr. Trump and his tariffs. Now, the last point I want to make is the fact that the 1996 presidential election, were you around paying attention to what was going on?
Pretty much, yeah. Then we talk about the re-election campaign of the Clinton administration.
And who was he running against?
That would have been, oh, goodness gracious. Why am I forgetting that? Bob Dole?
Yeah, it was Bob Dole and Jack Kemp.
Mhm.
Now, what was the big issue in that campaign?
You got me. Other than the fact that at this time, we hadn't won the House yet, right? Newt Gingrich is not the speaker yet.
Well, Newt Gingrich, he was 94.
94? Okay. That's right. Midterms. That's right.
Yeah,
midterms. I apologize.
Yeah.
Was
Oh, don't
it was
apologize.
either immigration or welfare reform?
No.
What was it?
NAFTA, number one.
Oh, NAFTA. Okay.
Was a big NAFTA, all right? And that's when we started giving the country away to China and so forth.
Okay.
What the Bushes did it as well.
Sure.
And so did Bill Clinton. And so did Bill Clinton with NAFTA.
Mhm.
Okay? Now, we didn't want these jobs over here, so it was our decision to just farm them out overseas.
Sure.
With the NAFTA agreement. And as far as the Bushes were concerned, they were very close with China. Now, as far as the tariffs were a big campaign issue for Bill Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
He was pro-tariffs.
Right.
Okay. What do you mean, right? You weren't aware of that until I just.
No, I'm saying. So he was pro-tariff. I said the Democrat Party. I played the Nancy Pelosi clip.
Okay. So what you have to key on is that so was Bill Clinton before her. Okay. And then also what was taking place with NAFTA and everything else. Now, I listened to TIC on Saturday nights, and I listened to a program 9 o'clock at night till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
It's the archive programs from the archives for Coast to Coast.
Right.
With Art Bell, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a good program that was on this past Saturday, February 1st, 1996. And in that program, he discusses that he has people calling in and guests and everything, talking about Bill Clinton and tariffs.
Okay. Were you going to illuminate something for me?
It's worth listening to.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand your point.
Because it was all the emotions and the hatred that the Democrats are stirring up right now against Trump with the tariffs.
Oh, okay. So
That
in
was a
essence,
big
you're
issue.
saying that back
That was
then the Democrats were on the same playing field or in the same point of view as Donald Trump. So just reiterating the point that I made earlier in the show, that the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, Bernie Sanders in 2015, were all sounding like Donald Trump, and now they've completely turned on their heads.
A major problem that we have in this country is our form of government is not a democracy, number one.
Never was.
Number two, both political parties piss in the same pot. It's a private club. And Trump poses a threat to that two-party system, which is nothing more than a private country club for these two groups.
Okay, fine. We got all that out, and I want to go back to your earlier point before I let you go. The first point you made about Barack Obama and Chris Murphy saying that there need to be some sacrifices or people taking risk. You equated that with the risk they're going to have to take. How? You're saying that they need to sacrifice. But you're talking about belt tightening?
Belt tightening and the shortages. They're trying to promote that there will be shortages of products and so forth, as well as those that are available will be very costly.
Hold on. Wait, Kevin. You got that from this? I'm going to play it again to you so you can hear it.
I heard it. I don't have to play it again for me. I heard it many times.
No,
Okay?
I don't think you did. I really don't.
Yeah,
he said it's not enough to be a progressive. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. Being a progressives are against the tariffs, sir.
Don't stir up a lot of anti-emotions and hatred that don't.
Is that what you think this is, Kevin? You think this is about emotion?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'll put it to you this way. Okay. So you got sacrifices or making sacrifices. You're saying that Barack Obama is saying to understand what Donald Trump's doing, that progressives are going to have to do some belt tightening. You believe that. The guy who's been running around talking about how Donald Trump is an existential threat to our way of life. You think that Barack Obama is telling the American people, hold on, give Donald Trump a chance?
Well, first of all, you got to calm down, okay?
No. I'm not listening. I'm not even in any way exercised.
You heard everything I said to you in this phone conversation. I said at least twice, maybe 3 times.
Actually, you did not clarify the one important thing that I'm asking you to clarify.
I said sacrifice regarding inflation, potential number 1, and shortages number 2.
And you think that's what okay, that's what you think he said. Okay, fine. I'll leave it at that. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate you, sir.
Yep.
You got it. I don't even know what that was for. I really don't. Lori's in Glastonbury. How are you, Lori?
Hi. You know what? Let's take this on a completely different road.
Let's go.
Yesterday was a banner day for Red Sox fans and a banner day for UConn fans. It was an awesome double header in Fenway. We are now on a 5-game winning streak.
That's true.
I'm feeling much optimistic about our Sox. And so I think despite the rain, despite the doom and gloom that everyone is trying to throw on my parade, I am still marching through the streets because my basketball team won the championship and my Red Sox are hitting the ball. All is with the world.
Wait, Lori, wait. I'm sorry. Lori, I've got to rain on your parade a little bit. Why do you care this early about how the Red Sox are doing? At least wait until the All-Star break and then let us have a conversation. If we start promoting them too early as a team, they always let us down. You know, you and me both have been saying that for the past, 3-4 years now? Every time we start giving them kudos at the beginning of the season, they always go in the opposite direction. Can we at least wait?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Listen. Let me enjoy it while I got it because I know midsummer it's going to go down the pooper. So let me just enjoy it while I got it. That's all I'm asking.
All right. Fair enough. Lori.
Okay.
And congratulations to UConn women's. They deserve it. Congratulations to them.
Really do that. And you know Oriema he is the Yoda of women's basketball coaching in colleges. He is the Yoda for it. It's incredible.
Why do you think, let me ask you this before I let you go. Why do you think he won't go to the WNBA? If you had to guess.
Oh, wow. I think he's comfortable. I think he's built a dynasty where he is. Why would he go to the WNBA?
I couldn't agree more.
He has so much more. He has so much more where he is. He could say jump, they would all say how high. Why would he go anywhere else?
Let me tell you like this. I truly do believe this. The kudos of developing talent is in the college ranks. I mean, that's where it is. And I think for young talent and especially for basketball, not so much for football, weirdly enough, I don't really think that football really gives, like with the exception of maybe like a Nick Saban, like you have a few, football coaches that are stellar in that realm. But I think in basketball, you really do create as you just said, a lineage, like you create the lore of greatness when you develop that talent and bringing those into the professional ranks. I would rather be a coach doing that as opposed to if I'm a coach, I'm saying to myself, how many of my kids were first round picks? You know what I mean?
Right, and you have more opportunity to. I think will also be personally satisfying because he gets to see more growth, not only in his players as play, but as young women in their characters. And I think he probably values that more than anything he would get at the WNBA.
I would too. I think that, if you think about it as a coach, you have so much on your plate. There's no sort of acceleration for that player. While you have the player, you have to turn them into something great. Don't forget, you also have trades, so that particular player that you have, you may not always keep them. But as a college coach, sending them off into, the professional sort of arena, as a coach, you can kind of you can lay your hat on the fact that I've got, 17 number one picks in my organization, in my, at my school and at my organization. I got this person, I got that person, I've got Diana Taurasi. I've got, those things are very, very, they're much more relevant than on the professional level, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Right, exactly.
Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you. And again, congratulations to both teams. I appreciate it.
Yay! Yay!
I'm sour. I'm not waiting. I'm waiting for a bit. Let's go to Dan in East Windsor. How you doing, Dan?
How you doing, Reese? Hey, just a quick one on the Red Sox. Come on, they have a really good team. I really, truly believe they're going to win the division, and I'm a Yankee fan. Okay,
Okay.
so
Wow.
But I'm just saying. I look at it. I'm a realist. I look at what it is.
Okay.
But anyway, the reason I called though is because all this talk about with Bill Clinton and Obama and you can find audio and video of Bill Clinton talking about illegal immigration.
Sure.
How it's out of hand. We have to do something. The same thing with Chuck Schumer. The same thing with Hillary Clinton, and the same thing I believe even with Obama.
Mm-hmm.
And my point is, even though they talked about it like that, and they talked about tariffs and stuff like that, they were never in favor of any of it. The Democrats will just say whatever they have to say in order to get votes, and they never had any intention of doing any of it.
I think you're 100% right. It was like, look, they had C-SPAN cameras in front of them. There's a lot of political collateral in having that sound bite and people talking about you in the political world. You're absolutely right. I don't think they believed one word of what they were saying. It just sounded politically expedient at the time. You're so on point.
That's it.
Thank you, Dan. Hey, Dan, hold on for me, man. We're going to get you a dozen bagels, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. Speaking of what he just said, here's Chuck Schumer.
I thank the gentleman, salute him for his work on this, rise in support of the amendment. First of all, Social Security card is used from one end of America to the other as an identification card right now. Who are we kidding? If you want to pass a law and says it shouldn't be, I would ask the chairman and the distinguished minority member of the Social Security committee to pass that law, but let's admit the truth.
What he was admitting the truth was that the Social Security cards were being used by illegal immigrants back in 1996. That's what he was admitting. Chuck Schumer today. No, there's no fraud in Social Security. 1996. Come on, let's tell the truth. Good point there, Dan. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the Radio. You, have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here next time. Jason Caterina, he's got your weather going home, and Mark Christopher is going to get you home on the roads in the BPS Traffic Center. Good night, Mark.
Hey, good night, Reese. And if you're heading into Hartford right now, quiet on the roads, 8491 Route 2290.
All right, good sir.
All right, buddy. Welcome to your Monday. We'll see you
Yes, sir.
mañana.
See you tomorrow, Tuesday.
Just west of
I'm trying to figure out if we
not-
got socks tomorrow.
Oh, you
I have
know
to
what?
look at.
Hold on, that's what I'm going to do right now. Thank you for mentioning
Traffic
it.
and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
See more games.
For the rest of our Monday afternoon,
Where
a
the hell is
colder,
it?
damp,
That's
raw,
today,
and chilly
that's
day
tomorrow.
with that rain
Same time,
and drizzle
5:45.
around. The high only 42.
All right, cool.
All right, so
Still
we're good.
cloudy tonight.
In
There'll be a
fact, it
stray
looks like
shower
all
late,
week,
the low down to
with the
36.
exception of
Now
Thursday.
on Tuesday, mostly
Thursday
cloudy,
we're off. So
windy,
Thursday's the
and
only day
chilly
we're online.
overall. The high.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Then Tuesday night, partly
See you tomorrow.
You got it, buddy.
cold, breezy too, with the low dropping down to 26. Now Wednesday, still breezy, mostly sunny, another chilly day, but the high moving up to 46. Now some sun before turning cloudy on Thursday, just a touch milder, but the high up to 52. Periods of rain on Friday with the high of 54. Then heavy rain continues Friday night, the low dropping down to 45. The rain continues as we...
There we go. All right, everybody. Nighty night. Y'all be good. Somebody's sending me an ad about hepatitis B. What the hell is that about? You guys are weird. You guys are weird. Did you guys check out Sunday's show? I talked about the ratings for the past 6 months. If you haven't, go to reesontheradio.com so you can listen to it. I talk about it, I think, in the fourth break, near the end of the show. I talk about it a little bit. We got some great numbers on the show, so check it out so you can learn what this whole thing is about. These numbers are absolutely astronomical. We saw them double from July, and it's on a steady rise. So let's see if we can keep it going. And again, like I said, I can't do it without you guys. So all blessings and gratitude to you. All right? Y'all be good to each other. Stay out of trouble.